the madhouse.
All right, cheers. Cheers to episode 47.
Cheers.
Big Wave Golden Ale, Conan Brewing Company.
Ooh, I want to see what Evan's got. I got a whiskey drink.
Got a little mix. Gin and lemonade.
Gin Lemon 7. Without the 7.
Yeah, I like that. I'm trying out orange bitters for the first time in my life tonight. Not
Weird,
in my life, but first time owning it
this weekend.
in my apartment, owning it and mixing it into a drink. Obviously, when you get them at bars, they have it. Anyways, tonight is Monday, November 22nd, Overreaction Mondays. It's 8:18 p.m. And LeBron James is public enemy number one in the city of Detroit. Leave it to LeBron to just, in the thick of football season, really stir up a story this week. Before we get into that and our thoughts on what took place in Little Caesars Arena, how was everyone's week? And what's new with you guys?
My week was good. Went up north for deer camp. Opening day was last Monday. So we went up this weekend, Evan and I both. And
Where at?
We went
For
to
listeners.
the Traverse City area, specifically Kingsley, Michigan. Same place we went for our camping trip this summer. I saw some deer. I saw a coyote.
Really?
Yeah, you want to see the video?
Yeah, show me after.
Okay, I'll show you. And yeah, and Evan didn't see a single thing.
Is this true, Evan? You saw nothing.
Facts, correct. Didn't see a single thing. Everybody else that went on a hunting trip saw at least one deer. I barely saw a four-legged animal.
Evan did see a turkey fly.
While riding the back of a four-wheeler backwards. So yes, technically I did see it.
That is worth something.
When you say fly, how high do turkeys get off the ground?
I'd say it was probably 30, 40 feet.
Yeah, Grant, this was high. I would say it was a little bit higher. And I was shocked how high the turkey was.
40 feet.
I didn't find that high either.
Don't think I've ever seen a turkey flying above me like that. It was pretty weird. Something, though.
Were any shots fired in the woods?
No, none of that.
From the collective unit?
No, I don't think so.
Is this the least takeaway of a deer camp in history?
No, deer camp's about the camaraderie and just, hanging with the guys.
Any
Deer haven't been shot.
Any
very
podcast
much.
safe camaraderie stories then?
No, I didn't get. No. Anything funny and worth mentioning cannot be mentioned, I don't think.
We didn't make it the fun trip fun because Alex just wanted to get there Thursday night.
Right. Because the other adults, the supposed adults, stopped in Mount Pleasant at Soaring Eagle at 3 p.m. By the time we were driving past there around 9, they were still there. And I guess we could have stopped, theoretically. But I, didn't want to because I wanted to hunt the next morning and get up at 5 o'clock. And needless to say, not everyone on that casino trip made the hunt the next morning. They didn't get to the house until after Evan and I were already asleep. And
wow.
Yeah. So
I don't know what that says about you guys, about them. That's surprising that the group of the men, the adults, was just like, let's just rip it.
Well, these adults always are known to rip it on the way up. A 2-hour drive turns into 7 hours. It's almost a guarantee.
Evan, your perspective of deer camp or anything else you did this week / weekend?
This week, Wednesday, great basketball game took place.
Oh, God.
We didn't mention
that. Could have just slipped under the radar with all that happened this week in Michigan sports.
Jab. Pure domination. Won money on the game, so I feel good about that.
Not a gambling endorsement.
Not a gambling endorsement.
Unless you're fading Butler, then definitely an endorsement because they stink.
And, Thursday made the trip up there. Friday, Saturday, hunted. It was a good time, quality time. I think that was about the highlight of... Oh, I just started binge watching a show. Started doing that last night. Started. So I have this list on my phone from all of the friends' recommendations of shows that I should watch. And I completely ignored it and just started binge watching one of my favorite childhood shows.
So you've already seen it.
You're a loser.
Well, it's like seasons. it's not really like you don't really have to watch them in order, but I just started from season 1. I just started rewatching Survivor. Season 1.
That's on Netflix.
You can watch all
Yes.
41, 42 seasons if you have Paramount.
It's on Netflix, I think, too.
There's 40 seasons.
Yes.
40
It's like
seasons.
2 a year.
Over 40 seasons.
For 20 years.
I've never really watched it.
What? Great show.
How do you guys think you would do good in that show?
Yes.
A typical Survivor fan, you watch it, like, oh, I definitely would win. It's kind of cringy to watch season 1 and how bad the players were at Survivor. Now with, like, more stuff.
Deep
I
cut.
think I could.
Evan and I at daycare used to play Survivor with all the other daycare members, and we were sweet at it. So I would be great at it. Put me in the woods. Put me on Survivor.
How do you play it against,
There's like
as kids?
There was like 12 of us, and we did challenges, and then we voted people off, and we played Survivor in the basement. And it was awesome. We had forts and, pretended we were scrounging for food. Had alliance meetings. Backstab people. It was phenomenal. It's great stuff.
That is wild to be doing in, daycare.
Yeah. They were 9, 10 years old.
On your guys' journey in the car, are you guys getting any good road trip snacks? What were the road trip snacks like?
I had Chick-fil-A.
I saw Alex somebody down Chick-fil-A as fast as possible on the way up there.
It was one of the fastest eating moments I've ever had. I was so hungry, and I just downed my Chick-fil-A. It felt like I was in a hurry, so I had to eat fast.
Was the drive home Sunday miserable?
Well, it actually went by pretty fast.
It was miserable when I dropped Evan off in East Lansing and had another hour and a half to go.
Yeah.
I was alone. That was pretty terrible.
But right when we got on the road, there was probably at least 20 state troopers.
Yep. Confirmed. In a 20-mile radius.
What?
Yeah. They would be on the side of the road. We would pass them. They'd be in the middle of the road. And there was a side road. I don't remember what road we were on. But there was 3 of them just lined up in a row.
Yep. Concerning.
Yeah, that is a little weird, especially
It looked like they were waiting for a mass murder.
in that area of the state. What's going on up there? Well, that's where they do plan crazy shit, right? To overthrow governments and whatnot.
No.
I think it's up that way.
No. I think that was people from the Lansing area.
Maybe. We'll get to the government in my weekly update. It's not what you think, though. But first, before that, one thing that I just thought, dumb things that go through Grant's head of how does this thing work. Backstory was a lazy adult life moment. I finally got my dry cleaning done from a wedding I attended in August.
Oof, I saw you do that.
It's the middle of November, towards the end of November, and I finally got it taken care of. And as I'm standing there, they have in a dry cleaners, they have, the huge rotator conveyor belt of everything on hangers. And I just kind of briefly saw the lady go press a button or so, and then it all move. And I just was thinking, how do those things work? Because they had this dry cleaners place had hundreds and hundreds of garment bags on this conveyor belt. And I'm I wonder what the organization system's like in a dry cleaners, and it just made me curious about it. And I haven't gone to look it up, and I don't know if you guys know how it works, or if anyone would like to call into the show or DM the show that has ever worked at a place like that and let us know how those things stay organized.
I mean, I guess that's not something I just think about. So
she hit one button, everything spun, and then there was mine in front of her. I go, what did she do? Is it alphabetical? Is it buttons on the
robots? Duh.
No.
How do you think a car's made?
Dry cleaners aren't super high tech.
Well, they might be.
They're not.
We don't know.
Dry cleaners are one of the grittier establishments in the country. They're just no fluff, no nothing. You just get in and get out.
I don't know. I usually just drop my stuff off, come back, pick it up. I don't even.
And one of the weird places where it's just a big trust system where you give them your clothes, you don't have to pay yet, and then you pay when you eventually come back.
Yeah, or you just don't get your clothes back.
Right.
So I mean, it actually makes a lot of sense why you wouldn't pay until afterwards.
I wonder what they do after a certain time. Do they just
probably just give it to Goodwill?
Evan, nothing from you. You don't know how those things work.
Hand up. I have personally never used the dry cleaners.
You're not missing much.
Yeah, you're not.
Sorry, I can't comment on it. My feeling for that button thing, I think she held it down until your number came up. She didn't just press it and let go. I think it was a hold down.
A number system makes more sense than
feels right.
That feels right. The next thing was the government. I figured out where the state of Michigan's government money is going and why we can't have potholes filled. Drone shows. So went down to the Capitol on Friday night. They had like a holiday parade. The parade itself stunk.
The Silver Bells.
I guess, yeah, sure. It's got a cute little
Based
name.
on what I hear, it's phenomenal.
The parade itself stinks.
Motions.
Like, it's instead of like floats, it's just like firefighter trucks wrapped in lights, which is like, whatever. Cool. And the Santa stunk. He didn't even stand up one time with the wave. He just sat there on his fat butt and waved. Meanwhile, Mrs. Claus was... Cut that.
No, that's got to be in it.
But
that has to be in the show.
She was taking the whole spotlight on the Santa's the sled. But then they're like, and then also the tree laying ceremony. The tree was super underwhelming.
What?
I don't know if I'm just being snobby. You guys got to see.
I got a Snapchat.
You guys got to see the Rockefeller tree, I believe, in New York when you visited, right? Or no?
It was lit. We didn't watch it light up.
No, but it was lit, wasn't it? Maybe not. You guys came in January.
I've seen it, I think.
We came in January.
We came after Christmas. I don't think it was...
One of those, like, sirens, not a big deal, but, like, that tree shits on basically any other tree in America.
Shits, dude. What's wrong with you right now?
That tree shits on any tree in America.
Like a dump.
Like a dump. And so... Gross, but then they like stick around for the drone show, and I was like, what could be this drone show? It was actually super impressive. Like, you just see next to the, like, left of the Capitol building, like, I don't know, 30 to 40 drones. And I, again, like the dry cleaner thing, I want to know how this works. It had to be a computer program because they weren't connected. They all rose up at the same time, and they formed these formations with different lights. They all could turn different colors in the sky to, like, show up in the sky as Christmas themes. So, like, for example, at one point they all maneuvered together to be like Santa's sleigh, and it was like flying through the sky. And I was like, that's actually like super impressive. I don't know who invents that, how they program it, and then it turned into like Santa or like a tree lit up. And I was like, this has to cost a ton of money, first of all. And whoever was like greenlit this, like, yeah, let's just probably drop like a couple grand for a sweet drone show. And like, I guess that's cool, but I found out where all our government money is going because that had to cost a lot of money. But it was cool.
It's just donations.
Did you give money?
It's probably just the people that own the drones got together in their drone club and planned it out. It's that simple. The government didn't pay for any of that.
I don't know. I don't think
so.
Zero. I think so. Some resources were put into that drone show.
No.
Outside of that, nothing really notable. Just, again, kept watching football. Enjoying football as it winds down, you know? Got to make the most of it. Did I watch all the Michigan-Maryland game? No. Whatever.
Did I watch any of it? No.
So
did I watch all the Michigan State game? No.
Outside of the week recap, our first topic will be kind of brief, but we did have some questions because it was recent, and whenever there's a fight, stirs things up. So NBA to start off the show. LeBron versus Isaiah Stewart, a fight. We don't need to get into like what happened. Everyone's seen the videos. We'll just hop right into some listener questions that facilitate our overall thoughts on the matter. Did Isaiah Stewart overreact? Should he have kept his cool to stay in the game and help the team win?
Slightly. He might have overreacted a tiny bit. And the only point where he overreacted was when he was throwing our own coaches on the ground. I thought that was a little extreme. You gotta know the room, at least know who's around you. You can't just be yeeting assistant coaches. You can't be doing that. But other than that, mainly justified.
100% justified. Obviously, somebody said something to his face for him to overreact.
Russell.
When he first confronted LeBron, somebody had to say something for him to back him off. And then that's what initiated it all. And then obviously you get more people involved, and then it just keeps on escalating from there. And then I think it's 100% justified.
But that even when he went full Kenneth Walker, baseline
he had his fuse just burst and get out of his way.
He probably had the devil look in his eyes. Wouldn't want to get in between him. Cade tried his best, though.
Cade did try to
team leader.
He's a leader on this team.
Well, if Cade wasn't a vegan, he might have done a better job.
No, I disagree because I think the point that I took away is I don't think he did overreact. And I would say for him, he kind of did keep his cool in a way. Now, hear me out. Sounds crazy, right?
Yes.
Didn't swing.
But
Didn't swing. Good
right,
point.
nailed it. You guys nailed it. Because no one on that court could have held him back and prevented him from punching someone, and he had the self-restraint to not punch anyone. Like, even eventually in the clip where he's just dodging everyone to run back, he could have gotten to whoever he wanted to gotten to. He decided to hold up once he got close enough that it was striking range, and then a guy wrapped him, and he's like, okay, I won't go for it.
But, I mean, he did pancake one of our coaches.
Yeah, I think that was more like that coach is unathletic and fell down, like, in the midst of it. It wasn't
if
the
Isaiah
most...
Stewart bodied you, you would be flying too.
Yes.
Yes, okay.
But I wouldn't hold that against Isaiah. I would hold
No.
that on me for trying to, like, run into his sprinting shoulder and then, get out of the way.
I mean,
So-
if you're a coach in that situation, are you just going to let him go? You're going to try to stop him.
Quick answer is, in terms of the game, no, who cares? Losses at this point don't really matter for the Pistons, although I still would like them to make the play-in game to prove my take right. Whatever. The game they needed to win was against the Warriors when they sat everyone. They lost that. So at this point, losses don't matter. Who cares? Give highlight moments like this. You get the people in the country talking about your team, which they never do. And then another question from a fan. Is LeBron officially the most hated player in sports by Detroit fans? He cites several reasons. OSU fan, growing up, kind of ended or helped
Pistons
end the old Pistons in 2005, 2006. All the flopping he does, the complaining he does, and then this hit in the face. Is he the most hated player in sports by Detroit fans? I don't know if this is all time. I'm thinking it's currently right now, the way he phrased it.
I mean, some common enemies that come to mind are like Aaron Rodgers, Sidney Crosby,
Blake Griffin. People
now,
don't like him anymore.
Nelson Cruz, Pablo Sandoval.
There's probably some baseball guys. The real problem is that Michigan sports, Detroit sports have been so terrible in the last couple of years. You don't have that hate in your heart because you only hate players when your team's good and they're like preventing you from that. And it's like a big game and they do something that makes you hate them. When you're just bad, you don't have enough emotions to muster to actually hate somebody.
Most hated player in sports by Detroit fans has to be Matt Patricia.
As a coach. But I don't hate it.
Not a player. But
Honestly, if it's not LeBron, it should be. And honestly, LeBron should just be the most hated person in America for any person in the country. So if you like sports, if you are a fan of athletics, you should hate LeBron. He's just a joke of a player, of a human being, and if he's not already your most hated player, he should be. And also, when you waste your time arguing with people, as our group chat did today, if anyone starts off this conversation with trying to say that it was an inadvertent elbow, you should just stop listening to what they have to say from there.
bad take.
First of all, it wasn't his elbow, and second of all, it was not inadvertent. And I've had that with multiple. I had some friends from college trying to tell me it was like accidental. Like, it's not. It's like you watch that front angle that's out there, and he glances at him, and these are athletes that get paid millions of dollars to control their body in precise manners. He knew exactly what he was doing. He was trying to teach a second-year player that he's annoyed with, who plays hard. Like, Isaiah Stewart is a pest and is annoying to play against, but he just tries hard and whatever. The last question we have is if these two actually did get in a fight, which would be super exciting, in an octagon, who would win?
Beef stew, he's a maniac. LeBron's not for fighting. He's way too soft.
Really, because he actually came out today and said that he's not a soft player, and he said it was funny this happened in Detroit because they've known for the bad boys. He said if he played around in the bad boys era, that all those guys would have been afraid of LeBron. And he would have taught them.
LeBron's a cheap shot guy. I think if he was an organized...
He said that. That's a real quote that came out today.
No way!
I didn't see it. I'm not going to confirm
one
that.
game. The Stewart got suspended for 2. That's breaking news as of like an hour ago.
Did see that.
Breaking.
I'll just take Stewart because of the switch in his head. I think he's probably going to be like psychotic.
I think it's Stewart. LeBron cares too much about his pretty little face and how good he looks nonstop. Cares about his image more than how grit he has. Stewart's eye was bleeding from the socket and he was running up and down the court after somebody.
Like a maniac.
Yeah, Isaiah Stewart 100% wins that fight. Isaiah Stewart, and I was trying to say maybe Russ. Isaiah Stewart would beat anyone on that court that night.
I didn't say that.
You said like Russ is about that life. He could handle Isaiah
Well,
Stewart.
he just looks like a guy that's would fight someone. I don't know if he'd win, but he'd not be afraid to fight. I think LeBron's much more afraid.
And also this like LeBron trying to apologize. Like I'm watching the clip back. Like LeBron was like in his face jawing. He wasn't trying to apologize even in the moment. So to think that like after the game when LeBron ran away in the locker room like a girl, like, oh, I need to go apologize to Isaiah. There's no way. He knew what he did. He's not sorry about it. And the crazy thing is I legitimately thought one of these guys had to have gotten suspended for 4 games because they play in 4 games from now. Like, this rematch happens this week. So I am beyond fascinated. It became must-watch to see what happens.
That game will probably be on national TV now.
I don't know if flexing works like that in the NBA.
I think it does.
It'll have a large audience of people just watching to see what happens in this game. And I would not put it past Isaiah Stewart to do something crazy because he's obviously younger and has like less to lose than LeBron.
Did he learn his lesson? Is there a lesson to be learned?
I don't know. 2 games, whatever. 2 games in a rebuilding year doesn't hurt anyone.
Whoa. You said this is a playoff team.
Yeah. So
are you out on that?
No, you can rebuild and make the play-in tourney. The 10 seed gets in the play-in tourney. That's not good. Was there any other angles, really, from this that you guys thought?
No, the Pistons ended up blowing the game, which is a little disappointing.
Yeah, it would have felt good to win that one.
Yeah. Evan also told me just a little fact about the Pistons. It wasn't a fact. Evan just said he actually does not care at all about the Detroit Pistons. He did say that on Saturday. So...
wow, out of context.
Hate to expose you here, Evan, but you get a chance to defend
yourself. I don't think he meant that.
It felt like it. It felt like it.
Did I? Yeah, I probably do mean it. I said I do care about the quality of play from Cade Cunningham.
And nothing else.
I care about how good he is, and hopefully he wins Rookie of the Year. I care about our young players, but do I sit down and watch the Pistons like a diehard fan? Absolutely not. I watch more Red Wing games than I have Pistons minutes.
Yeah.
That's that's alarming.
I'm not watching, like, tuning in a lot to Pistons games. I try to put them in the background to see if anything happens, to see the highlights. But like, you're kind of if you're paying attention to every single game, you're a diehard. And we follow those people on Twitter, and I rely on them to tell us like what's going to happen. And hopefully, we can try to get some of them on when football season is done, and they can just tell us what we've missed, and then we'll go from there.
Yes.
Topic number 2, probably another brief one. The Lions at the Browns. The winless season continues. The Tim Boyle experience. The Browns won 13-10 in just a gross weather game, a gross game overall. This is one I barely saw, but I tried to watch back some of it on Game Pass, which is embarrassing to even admit out loud, but I do it for the listeners. For some interesting things about this game that are notable that happened in NFL season. 1, Gus Johnson on the call, kind of surprising. And I can confirm what Alex told me, that LeVar Arrington is not good yet.
Real bad.
At being a color guy.
Bad.
He's just talking mid-play over Gus. So
he, right in the beginning of the game, I don't know if you heard this, but saying someone's name, like Joe Bitonio, I think is his name. He's like, Joe, you know what I mean? Whatever, it doesn't matter. Joe Bitonio. And then he tries to talk about him, just like brushed off his name. It was very, very terrible. And then after Gus made the weird, like, little kissing your little sister thing, LeVar's like, yeah, well, it's the good kind of kissing your sister. And I was like, what?
Pause. Like, it's bad.
So weird.
They're doing bad if you can pick up that they're doing bad through Game Pass because they splice up the game to 30 minutes. And so it's not a lot of the color guy talking. And, like, on the first snap of the game, he's just like, LeVar's bush out. Oh, they didn't run it this play. Like, talking about the Browns. It's like, who does that? So that was good. And then also, the Lions got an unsportsmanlike between commercial breaks, which is something you don't often see in the NFL. I don't think I've ever seen that in a football game. So that was historic. Yeah. Because I guess Dan Campbell said in the postgame that Jonah Jackson said something about someone's mother, and they gave him an unsportsmanlike in between commercial breaks.
Your mother.
Said something about Clowney's mother.
Wow.
So that's something. Any takeaways or thoughts you had about this game?
Does anybody know why Tim Boyle's in the NFL? Let me just read you some stats of college.
I don't know. I'll answer it before you read. I don't.
48% completion percentage in college.
Okay.
And that's 3 years.
Elite.
He threw 60 passes his senior year in college at UConn.
Total?
Total.
How many games? That seems impossible.
5 games. He was 31 of 60 for 280, no touchdowns and 2 picks. In his college career at UConn.
Elite football school.
1 touchdown, 13 interceptions. How the bleep is this guy in the NFL? Does anybody have any idea how he made it?
My initial thought was that he has to have dirt on someone in the NFL's like them, like that they're cheating on their significant other, and he's like been holding that over people's head for years. It doesn't make any sense. He's not old either. He's like kind of young.
Negative 122 rushing yards in college.
Well, sacks. Alex.
But just saying.
Evan, I asked you the all-important question, though. Was it that much of a drop-off from Jared Goff to Tim Boyle?
I think it was much worse.
No, it was not.
I think it was worse, Evan.
I don't think it was that much worse.
You were at the Eagles game.
Yeah. Yeah, DeAndre Swift ran for 130, so maybe that's why we didn't notice how bad Tim Boyle really was.
I mean, Tim Boyle's first interception was
horrendous.
Was bad.
So bad.
I hope it was a misread on route and not just a throw behind, like Gus said, because if that was a throw behind, that was the worst throw behind I've ever seen.
He sucks.
Blowout plays on Thanksgiving again, so like 2 of his career starts are both on Thanksgiving.
Tim Boyle's QBR was 6.7.
His PFF grade was 3.3.
He threw for 77 yards.
Efficient.
And 2 picks and no touchdowns. It's one of the worst performances of all time.
And they almost won the game.
I was honestly, Baker did not play well either. I was honestly cheering for the Lions to lose because this would be a game that they would win, and we blew in our first overall pick. But good news is Houston won.
Yeah.
And somebody else won. I thought I had one loss.
No.
Jacksonville lost. Wait, that doesn't help. I'm an idiot. Sorry, disregard.
Might have been just Houston. Well, Houston won, so now we have like a 2-game cushion because we're the only winless team. I think everybody else has 2 wins.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I understand that we are trying to go through a tank and rebuild process.
I'd like to win 1 game.
But I will say this is that the idea of
tied, we're good.
The idea of trotting out Tim Boyle does not make me feel better about like the functionability of this organization. Like I still think the fact that he's your backup still proves how dysfunctional you are. Dude, there's so many people in the league. Like, give me Blake Bortles. Give me something that I can just be like, okay, maybe. Like, a Tim Boyle, like what Alex just read, is like indefensible, and it just makes me, again, how dysfunctional
you should watch
this franchise is.
His tape from the Packers. Someone on our Twitter feed tweeted it out. It's all knees. It's really good. He just takes a knee like 13 times. That's all his highlights. He's sweet.
It's crazy. The only thing X's and O's wise that I saw from this game that irked me is the trend of running on 3rd and longs continues and just being passive. Like, if we're going to keep losing, I'd like to just be the team that goes for it every 4th down and just, like, lose that way. So there was one in the first, like, quarter they ran on 3rd and 10, a draw play, just so gross. And then 2, the one I think people talked about more was in the 4th quarter when it was a game. It was 3rd and 14, a run near the 50, and then you punt. It's like, at least throw something. Like, we all know you're not going to throw it past the sticks on 3rd down, regardless if you use QB, because you guys are soft and can't execute it. But at least throw a ball like 7 yards downfield on like an out route and just try to cut the distance. And then, I don't know. Because, like, punting the ball there with how bad your run defense is all year and has been against Nick Chubb, like, you're not getting the ball back. Anyone can see that has eyeballs. So, in your 0-8, you might as well try to go for it. And then the other thing was, like, there was another instance where they only rushed 3 pass rushers on a 3rd down, and that is just stupid. And that needs to stop.
I mean, honestly, I thought the defense played well for a bright spot.
The defense always does. I find myself every week playing, well, the defense at least kept him in the ball game.
I mean, did they play well, or did, like, one-legged, one-armed Baker play that bad? Maybe a little both. But
yeah, but they did what they should do.
Opportunistic football.
Tip drill interception. That's opportunistic, baby.
It's really... Baker's first pick was an awful throw.
Evan, any X's and O's that you saw from the game, or not worth it?
We might have like the worst like screen game, like ability.
I like that observation. I agree 100% without knowing anything else.
Like, I get like you have to try to catch him off guard, but like our ability to run like a basic like RB screen is horrendous. And our quick passes for wide receiver screen game, horrendous. It's like I'd rather take a 50-50 shot towards the end zone. Or like a deep pass and try to run like a ball.
We can't throw the ball
because it's not working.
Yeah, just throwing up on a post to Josh Reynolds at this point. They're not utilizing the talent of Amon St. Brown. It's a shame.
Also, Josh Reynolds, brick hands at like 3 drops.
Who?
Josh Reynolds.
Alex
Weather. Too early. But probably a reason he got cut by the Titans who don't
3
have
No
targets.
connection with Tim Boyle.
No catches.
No chemistry with Timmy. Before I get to my last question about this game, we do need to figure out as an organization how to do something productive offensively during DeAndre Swift's golden years of football, because that dude is an animal and single-handedly kept him in a tie basically against Pittsburgh with his performance, and then also had another career high rushing and broke off a great run. Like, running backs have a short shelf life. We see that like around the league. Kamara banged up all the time. Henry now hurt. Like, McCaffrey's been hurt. Like, we need to, and Swift has already had injury problems. Need to get something going here with an offense next year while we still have a dynamic running back. That's to be my only please and thank you for the Lions and not mess that part up.
Yeah.
And then lastly, now, some people came at me a little too aggressively, I think, on Twitter because they're like, oh, that's such a dumb question.
It is.
Lions versus Ohio State. Evan, maybe you'll put me in my place, but after what I watch Ohio State do on Saturday in the Tim Boyle Lions, and I know how many NFL players are going to be in the NFL from Ohio State's team, if they played like, I don't know, a best of 4 series, I think Ohio State wins one game. Especially if it's at the shoe in one of those games, I think Ohio State wins. Am I crazy?
Yes.
I don't think you're that crazy. Alex is 100% against this, but you got to think.
Grown
most
men.
of these players on the Lions, like Tim Boyle, does not deserve to be on the NFL roster, and a lot of Ohio State players do.
Fine, but the
Like some
learning
of our
curve
secondary
is
players don't need to be on a roster.
Correct.
Like Alex Anzalone doesn't need to play football anymore.
Anzalone would be the starting linebacker on Ohio State if we were going to do that role reversal.
I understand that
So,
part,
it's
but
not
he doesn't
like-
deserve to be an NFL starter.
No, but he should be on an NFL roster.
Should he?
Yes, I think he should. Honestly,
No,
since
he's not that
his
good.
terrible Packers game, I think he's been
2.0.
better. He's better than Tabai.
I liked our friend that commented on our tweet.
Yeah, I love that guy.
If you just disguised Ohio State into the Bears uniform on Thursday, didn't tell anybody, just threw out Ohio State there for a half, I think they would compete drastically.
Yeah. If not be leading.
Guys,
Alex.
there's a reason rookies don't just walk into the NFL and become sweet.
Right,
It's
like
not
Jamar
easy.
Chase and Devontae Smith, they aren't
Justin
sweet.
Jefferson.
And Justin Jefferson.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Joe Burrow looked good as a freshman. Todd Jones looks really
Najee
good as a
Harris.
freshman.
Okay,
He
guys.
sucks.
So offensive linemen and
Yeah.
defensive linemen and corners are just all going to walk in too and be good.
No, and
This
I
is
think,
not just a skill position debate.
no, I think it is
Sewell
because
looks pretty good as a rookie.
Ohio State's skill players are better than the Lions.
Rashawn Slater's tearing it up. Michael Parsons is looking
Yes.
sweet,
Great. So you guys are just naming top 10 picks. That's
which is
sweet.
Ohio State's team.
So all of Ohio State's
Yes.
22 guys are top 10 picks. Let's be
Okay,
fucking
let me
smart
ask you
about
this. Who would you rather take right now as a Lions quarterback, CJ Stroud or Jared Goff?
Stroud.
That answers it already. You're pausing. It's CJ Stroud.
And
But
guess
that
what?
doesn't mean he's
He
going to...
got a ball game.
Guess what?
He
Tim
won a
Boyle's-
ball game at
Dude,
full.
he would struggle against an NFL disguises and coverages and all. He would be terrible in his first game.
Oh,
Ryan
he just
Day
walked
did coach
in.
the NFL.
Well, Ryan Day also is the best coach on the field in that game, so that also helps Ohio State.
Wow, then you should fire Dan Campbell.
I would in a second. If you fired Dan and hired Ryan Day, I would do that in a second. Ryan Day won't coach the Lions because he doesn't want to go lose because he's not dumb. The Ohio State job is better than the Lions job.
It's actually
That's
asinine to think grown men that do this for money
I
and a
don't-
living would just
Half of
lose.
Ohio State's roster is about to do this in 2 years.
Ohio State lost to Oregon. Oregon lost to Utah. You think Utah
We
beating the
haven't won a
Lions?
football game.
You think Utah beats the Lions?
No.
No.
Does
We're not
Oregon-
doing. You're doing the transitive property.
Does Oregon beat?
Yes, you're a loser.
You're
You're a
being
loser.
dumb.
Ohio State doesn't beat the Lions as much as you guys, as bad as the
I said
Lions are.
compete at halftime.
That's completely different.
Can I actually, for one second, give my real reasoning for this take? Because it's a unique. I wouldn't say every team, team in college football, could do this. It's simply because yes, they're going to get pressure on Stroud with the defensive line, but like we saw, and anyone can see, if you can give Stroud 3 to 4 seconds on a couple plays, they're going to be able to throw enough deep balls to those guys who are all first-round picks. They will make enough plays against our secondary to score enough points to win. And yes, Ohio State's defense is going to struggle, but the Lions' offense is so bad that they'll probably gift them 2 turnovers, and Ohio State could win the game out of 4 tries, 100%. 100%. Especially if Detroit went to the shoe at night, there's no chance they're winning that game.
No, it's actually stupid that you guys think this because this is NFL roster.
It's not.
The Lions are holding NFL teams under 20 points. NFL teams, other teams. A Cleveland Browns team that's 6-5 wouldn't lose to Ohio State. They just scored 13 points against the Lions' terrible defense. The Ravens didn't score 20 points against the Lions' defense.
Hey, guess what? Because all the receivers on Ohio State's team are better than Cleveland Browns.
Mm. So you think they're all better than, well, Jarvis Landry's injured.
Yep.
DPJ, we already had that. We already know that.
He was out too.
He didn't play.
Right.
And what about Marquise Brown? Is he better than Ohio State's receivers?
Probably as good.
Is Justin Jefferson? Is Adam Thielen?
As good.
In Dalvin Cook. Are those 3 skilled players?
About the Vikings.
They scored 19 points against the Lions. And you think Ohio State's going to walk in and score 30?
Ohio State only has to score 13 against us to win, so they probably have a chance.
Ohio State probably has to score 24 points.
Half the people on the Lions roster don't belong in the NFL.
Correct.
CJ Stroud
that we have an NFL roster
is CJ Stroud
asinine.
better than Justin Fields right now?
CJ, yes, because Justin Fields is injured and can't play.
Justin Fields and CJ Stroud. We're comparing the Lions to Ohio State.
Yeah, no, Justin Fields played at Ohio State in the same offense.
Justin Fields is hurt right now, so yes, CJ Stroud would be better.
Correct. Bruce Ribs can't deal with him.
Jimmy G or CJ Stroud right now?
Jimmy G.
I'm talking you have to start someone Sunday.
Against who?
Anyone in the NFL.
Jimmy Garoppolo.
Okay. We can move on.
The argument wasn't about CJ Stroud, really.
I understand that. I'm just telling
It
you.
wasn't.
It was.
The Lions can hold Adam Thielen, Dalvin Cook, and Justin Jefferson and an NFL offensive line to 19 points 19 points. Why is Ohio State going to come in and score 30? They're not. So that's the end of this. And if you guys want to keep arguing, you can. I don't really care. Let's just move on. It's a really dumb take.
I just want you to know
not a dumb take.
it's not a
I
dumb
think it's
take.
realistic.
It is.
I would not.
Field.
I would not laugh at someone if they ever suggested that to me this year.
I would. I think it's one of the dumber takes in sports. College teams are not beating pro teams. There's a reason.
Well, our pro team is half of a college team because they are buns.
And simply, you say there's a reason. We don't know. We've never seen it happen because everyone's too cowards. It's a lose-lose for the NFL team.
Of the
That's
20
my number one argument is that half of the Lions roster doesn't belong in the NFL, and half of Ohio State's roster belongs in the NFL.
So you think 25 guys are on Ohio State are going to be in that?
25 guys, yeah, like their entire offense line is getting drafted.
If you
they
took
moved a 5-star left tackle to right guard because there was another 5-star playing left tackle.
If you took, let's just put it this way: if you took the top half of Ohio State's team this year and switched them for the bottom half of the Lions, the Lions would for sure have a win this season.
We would win all those close games.
I would have 2 wins this season.
Maybe. I'm not denying that Ohio State's
I
3
bet
receivers are all
And
NFL.
their kicker's better. The kicker hasn't missed. Like, there's so many parts of that team, Ohio State,
Their
that's
kicker did
better
miss against Michigan.
than the Lions.
Their kicker did miss.
Tough for my argument, but until then he hadn't missed.
So
And we have Santoso. I'll take their kicker.
we don't have him. We cut him.
Didn't he kick?
No, Aldrich Rojas did, and he drilled it.
Santoso, Rojas. I can't keep up. Okay, fine. We'll move on to talking more about that Ohio State team. In the game of the week of college football that was built up to it was not. Michigan State Ohio State recap. Final Ohio State 56, Michigan State 7. I'll give you guys your like in the press conferences when coaches give their opening statements. I'll give you guys opening statements before asking any leading questions in this game.
Abysmal, disgusting, egregious, and puke.
Puke feels like a good word.
It was an embarrassing letdown performance from a team that had higher expectations than the product that they put on the field on Saturday.
I don't disagree. Next question.
For context, this was the worst margin of loss for a top 10 team since I believe like the 1950s was a stat that I heard. It was a game in which Army played against some, I don't know, Ivy League school.
Army.
So that's tough. Out of curiosity, for the Michigan State fans listening, for reasoning what to make of this game, and I'm curious, what do you guys most chalk the loss up to? I have 3 options, but you have to pick one. You can't. I know it's a mix of everything. You have to pick one, and then if you think the 3 options aren't good enough, you can do the other category. I would say 1 would just be Michigan State not playing good, playing bad. 2, OSU being that good at football. Or 3, the injury circumstances that MSU faced going into the game and throughout the game.
The obvious
One of
answer.
these 3.
The obvious answer.
You have to choose one, or you do. Alex, rewind. I said it's a mix of all 3.
I know that. That's why I
have
had to get that out there. That is the obvious answer.
Yes, but I already got that out there.
I'll go with
or an other.
Other, and my other is talent gap between the 2 teams. So basically 2 of the choices.
MSU being that good would be, I would say.
OSU being that good, not MSU.
OSU being that good would be your answer then, because that's.
I get you're forcing this to get me to say something, and then you probably clip it and say that's what I said. But I guess if you're making me pick one, sure.
I'm not trying to set you up at all. I'm generally asking a question that I thought was interesting.
Yeah, probably more so that their talent is ridiculous. That's what I'll go with. Ohio State is that good, but that's not the only reason.
If I had to pick one of the 3, I'm saying OSU is that good.
Yeah.
Offensively.
Correct. What would you say, Grant?
I honestly would say Michigan State not playing well. Now, I don't know how much injuries have to do with that. Like, I'm not dumb. I'm not going to – you can't use them as excuses. We all know that. But it does impact it. I was stunned, and I felt like an idiot because I didn't really put myself out there that much, but in private group chats, I had gone back and forth of thinking Michigan State could actually win this game. I was not trolling. I think on the show I picked it as like a three-point game. I was absolutely stunned, and I stuck up for Michigan State on TikTok before the game. And if you guys ever want to have some fun for people out there, not you guys because it'll be miserable, go to our TikTok. It's got like over 10,000 views, like 75 comments of Ohio State fans infiltrating our TikTok, just laughing at what we had said pregame, like the keys to the game graphic, because
that wasn't wrong.
Michigan State did none of those keys, and it was just funny to look at. And I actually read you. This one kid summed up the whole game. If you just read the top comment going into the game from this kid, credit to him for just absolutely nailing this. And I think he's a Michigan State fan. Mr. Box Noodle said, keys, there are none. This is a virtually impossible victory for MSU. They may not get a single stop. Holy shit, was that correct in the first half? So I would chalk up that Michigan State not playing good roundabout because I just thought Michigan State's offense could compete to make this a game at halftime. I knew the defense was going to have problems. Okay, I thought maybe they could get an opportunistic football turnover to keep them in it. But the offense was just so atrocious. Now, Kenneth Walker did have a run or two that broke. And obviously when you get down 14-0, it becomes harder to throw. I think they abandoned the run too quick. Now, again, do we know anything about the ankle injury? Who knows what was going on there? But, like, when you're down 14-0, you can still run the ball because that's the best thing. It's the best player on your team and the best player in the country. And you just abandon him and can't use him. And it's always been a struggle to get him involved in the passing game. So that's something that could have been cleaned up before going into this game. It's just like Jaden Reed. I mean, he made a good catch in traffic to get the drive moving on one of the possessions, but just something was off. Didn't seem like there was much creativity in the play calling as well. It just so many tip passes at the line. The screenplay wasn't working like that. The offense of just not playing good, I think, is what really let this game go to shit. And also it was obviously spelling Walker with Simmons, and then you fumble, and then the doors are off. Because 21-0, if you answer there, make it 21-7. Okay, 21-7, whatever. Can convince yourself. Stop it to score. Fumble, 28-0, see ya.
Kenneth Walker's not hurt to the point where he couldn't play, but he's clearly injured to the point where they didn't feel great about him being out there. And running backs do have short life, so maybe they're trying to be smart with him. You know, he does have a future in the NFL. And I get it's a huge game. But when you're down 14-0,
I can't accept that excuse. I will accept that
I will not accept that
he
excuse.
may have been.
it's not an excuse. He's injured.
But that logic,
He is hurt.
Right. I can go with that he's banged up. I'm not going to say he's injured to the point where he shouldn't be playing. I watched him break off 2 pretty impressive runs. One was a jump cut against their safety that was super impressive. There's no chance that Mel Tucker thought, I have to protect this kid's NFL future. I'm not playing him when we're down 14-0. That's not true.
Wasn't saying that.
You did.
I was saying that could be part of it. They need him next week too. They thought maybe they could do he probably thought we can get enough yards here with Jordan Simmons, and then he fumbled. And then when Ohio State's up 21-0 on you, they suck the living life out of you. And everyone's going to see it on Saturday. So they'll know exactly what I'm talking about if you didn't watch the game, if you're a Michigan fan. Going down that much early to Ohio State sucks the living life out of you. And then you start playing like you have to score on the next play. And then you start compounding your mistakes. And then, boom, it's 49-0, game's over. That's what good teams do to you. They bury you when you start to show weakness. That's what they did. Murdered you. They're talented. They have 5 stars at every position. It got out of hand quickly. I mean, what do you want me to say? But Kenneth Walker running the ball more, were we going to win because of that? I don't know. Probably
No,
not.
but it would have been respectable. The whole point is that this was a national embarrassment. How do you prevent that from happening? And I think there was mindsets and coaching mentalities that could have helped prevent that.
Yep, it started to spiral, and then once it did, it was over. And you couldn't stop the well-oiled machine on the other side. The defense is not equipped to stop them. They couldn't stop Purdue. They couldn't stop Michigan passing the ball either. They can't stop anyone passing the ball. And so the best passing offense in the country is obviously going to torch them. And when they went 95 yards on the first drive, not that they should have quit, but, it felt like the life was sucked out of them.
After one drive.
It felt like it. It felt deflating after one drive. I said on this show, you'd see 1 drive, 2 drives, and you know. They score, you go 3 and out, game felt over.
I guess, yeah, but I was more hammering home like the offensive woes at Michigan State because the defense did what the
offense felt so much pressure to score because they knew their defense was never going to get a stop, and they played like shit. I mean, that's just how it went.
Evan, your thoughts on how it transpired in the first half?
We hit the panic button.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
There's no reason that you're not running. You're trying to run the ball. There's no reason why you're not trying to. Like going into the game, you have to shorten the game, and you have to find your 20 best plays, and 15 of them better be in the run game on the first drive. It has to be. I get it, Ohio State's defense good, and they loaded the box, but Kenneth Walker still broke off a couple runs. You should have been doing that the entire first quarter. I don't care who the running back is. And I hated seeing Simmons in there, but as a guy that's gotten multiple carries this year, you cannot fumble there. I don't care who you are.
I'm sure they didn't think he would.
I know he's not going to fumble the football. But to me, it felt like the coaching staff panicked. The offensive play calling, they panicked in the first half.
Like I said, you get down to a team that good, and everyone thinks, holy shit, we have to score right now. So then they just try to throw the ball 40 times.
The mindset is when you kick the ball off to Ohio State, you got to expect them to put up some points there. And so coming back from there, we need 20 good plays.
Yeah, I don't know what you're looking for. The coaching staff failed, the players failed, everyone failed. It was a fail.
I can't wait to see Coglin off the team because he can't do his job.
No, he's terrible too.
And then that's a turning point too. I feel weird saying that they should have gone for it. I don't think they should have because you want to take points on the road when you can get them. We've talked about that for years, but also it's almost like when you play the Chiefs in the prime Chiefs in the NFL, like field goals won't win games. So even though you're on the road and it's already 14-0, maybe you should just try. Maybe you should do your scripted best deep shot play and just take a chance. Another thing too, it just seemed like there was no balls of the coaching staff on the sideline. I don't really recall Michigan State even trying that many deep shots. They were all like these short little zone beaters around the sticks that they
took a deep shot to Breed twice in the first 2 drives.
It just didn't. It didn't feel like that was really there. Like the flea flicker didn't show up. Like nothing was like this is like a big game or pulling out the stops. It was just like we're gonna try not to get embarrassed, and then you got embarrassed.
It's hard to know what the game plan really was going to be because after 2 drives, the full panic was on, and they tried anything but whatever they planned to do.
Right, but we're not stupid.
Off-script.
We know that they had a plan in mind. If it got like this, they're not dumb. I know you can go in thinking you can go.
I mean, when it was 14-0 and on the drive they missed the field goal, they did move the ball down the field.
Right,
and then they had a first down if Jaden Reed doesn't drop the ball when he reached for it, but he fumbled. But they called him an incomplete pass. Who knows? And I don't think they should have gone for it there. You're on the 36 or something, and your kicker is in his 7th year, and he should be able to make a 45-yard field goal, and he missed. And you get points on the board there, and you're kicking it off, and they don't have great field position because you get to kick it off, and you might feel a little better about yourselves. Instead, he misses it, and then it spirals. But I don't know if going for it there was the better move. I wouldn't have.
and I guess the defense, like we were all lining them off the hook because we knew they had a tough pass defense,
Not
but
off the hook.
it's still just so unacceptable to get beat like that bad on those plays, like as a safety and as on a top 10 football program. Like you feel like, I know Ryan Day's sweet at the vertical pass game, but there's got to be enough on film to like figure out that you just can't bite on a tight end curl route when Olave's streaking down the field.
They did exactly what I didn't want them to do. They blitzed, and they played man, and it went horrendously.
I don't think they played man. I think they played a little bit zone. It just happened that there was a guy in that zone looking like it was man.
Fine. They did blitz way too much. It never worked. They never even got there. And
I've been telling you that all year, that our blitzing packages or whatever are just not useful.
And then Gross, I get it. He's new to the position. He switched to safety, but his eyes are in the backfield the whole time, and he's just not moving. And then the defense runs right past him. It happened 2 or 3 times.
Wait, when did he switch? Like this week?
No, he played corner. He's a cornerback. This year he switched to safety.
Oh, well, that's not really like.
And he
didn't switch. He's been a safety for
this season.
11 games.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not his natural position. He's still learning. And I said that's not an excuse anyways. His eyes are always in the backfield, and he's not moving his feet, and people run right by him. It's happened all year. They just haven't faced Chris Olave and Garrett Wilson and Jackson Smith and Jigba.
Is there anything positive you took from this game?
Keon Coleman played okay. And that's it.
Did this loss change any of your thoughts about Mel Tucker?
No.
Did this loss change any of your thoughts about any of the coordinators on the staff?
Yes.
Who and how?
I'm not usually this guy. I don't like, moving on. But I hate the 4-2-5 defense. And the defense has been so bad this year. The worst defense I've ever seen as a Michigan State fan, and I could be out on our DC. I'm curious to see how we do Saturday. If it goes that bad again, I'm going to be calling for a new one. Might be overreaction one day, but that's how I feel.
I agree. I mean, you got to get product on the field. If you want to win championships, then everybody in the building has to be held accountable.
This is a business. I'm not here to – I don't want the D'Antonio save his friends' jobs. I don't want that anymore. So if Hazelton's not the guy, he needs to go.
And also breaking news, hey, guess what? Jay Johnson ain't winning the Broyles Award anymore.
No, but I think we could at least get –
because when you do the basic handoff for the 1,000th time that's been seen on film as the first play, guess what all linebackers are going to do? You're going to run right after Kenneth Walker. It's like, hey, good way to start with a negative 4-yard run. That a boy.
Granted, he hasn't had that Scotty Hazelton type season on that side of the ball. The offense has been pretty good all year. So it's not like I would – I mean, if you can get someone better, though, I'm all for it.
Be interested to see how Jay Johnson looks without the Heisman running back.
Yeah.
Because Kenneth Walker could make me look like a good OC. I believe that.
I do think Mel's the guy that if he's seeing what we're seeing, I think he'll cut bait. I think
he saw what we saw.
I don't think he's afraid to do that.
The only thing I want to say from this game is an overarching rule change that should happen in college football that we'll push for. I'm sure there's other people out there. We need to find them and collaborate. We need a similar injury system for college football like the NFL. There needs to be more transparency. There needs to be he's questionable in practice and inactive. Because I felt bad for my Michigan State friends when it's 5 minutes to tip. They're doing game day selections. They're in the stadium. And then you're spamming your phone, looking at Chris Solari tweets and all the beat reporters saying who's dressed, who's not, who's playing. Oh, wait, we have a surprise guy not playing. Like, that's torture for a fan base. And how do people make predictions during the week when you legitimately have no idea if someone's playing? Like, no idea.
It doesn't help either that Mel's the closest to the best guy of all time, so we actually have no idea whoever is going to play. I need to know.
That's common across all college football, though. I wouldn't. That's not a Mel problem. That's an industry-wide problem.
Some guys, at least, like Harbaugh said, he didn't think Corum would play. Blah blah blah. Like Mel says nothing.
No, Corum was found out through like people screenshotting his location of when he tweeted out something and the team was already on a team playing. Like they don't say anything, and it's like up to.
I need practice reports Wednesday through Friday. Did not practice, limited practice, full practice. I need it
for all our mental health.
Yes. Or don't, and I'll just be upset every week when I get to the game and 3 starters aren't playing I didn't know about.
Evan, question for you to wrap up this fan question was just, it's not a fun one, don't clap your hands, but when what was potentially, I don't know if it is the worst weekend of football imaginable that you could have had as a fan. Spartans got blown out, Lions lost, but you enjoy that, and then Tennessee Titans lost to the Houston Texans at home. And also, your fantasy football team didn't do hot, too. So, an overall, not great football weekend for you. Statement on that.
2 of them, I was expecting a loss. The 3rd one, I was cheering hard but was expecting a loss. And the 4th one, unexcusable loss. Can't happen when you're definitely at home. Rain game, but no excuses.
4 picks for Ryan.
Yeah, unexcusable. That's what I said.
So, yeah, it helps when the expectations are they're going to be facing some losses, so it's probably not as bad. Not as spicy of a question as you'd think on the outside.
Yeah. Yeah, you think like deep down, like, wow, Evan had the worst weekend of his life, but spin zone, not that bad.
Would have been actually a good weekend if you had actually seen a deer and been able to shoot one, but that's
it would have been a great weekend if I shot a deer.
Now we'll move to a much quicker recap. Michigan at Maryland. Michigan wins 59-18. My thoughts as a Michigan fan from this game, pretty brief. I enjoyed seeing first of all, the mindset of this game was kind of funny after seeing what Ohio State did. It was almost like I was in my head comparing everything Michigan did on the field to like, oh, how would that do against Ohio State? Like what? Like they can't be in a close game at all with Maryland. There's no chance against Ohio State. So it ended up being, I was happy if they scored 59 points. But there was some better play calling. They did get some of the skill guys on the edges better, like most notably on 3rd and 10 on one of the first drives, a swing pass to Donovan Edwards. Made a great play for a first down in the red zone. The red zone offense overall was much better. It was good to see skill guys like Mike Sanderstill and Andre Anthony make sweet one-handed catches because those are like tough catches plays that you have to make against Ohio State. So good to see they're capable of making those. And then lastly, with Corum's status up in the air, I honestly have no idea if he's supposed to play against Ohio State. It was great to see Donovan Edwards get involved in a game like this and just, even if he's not running the ball effectively, just catching the ball the way he did. I believe it was 10 catches for about 170 yards. That's unbelievable and good for a freshman. So really excited to see if he can actually do something in the Ohio State game and don't have to just fully rely on Hassan Haskins, who, as good as Hassan Haskins is, you do like a change of pace, speed back in a game like that. And then my last thing was it felt good to get my kind of stupid prediction right. Michigan did score on offense, defense, and special teams. So I think it was like the first time since 2015. Just felt like one of those Big Ten games where you go to College Park and you for sure score on one of the facets of the game. So that felt good. Do you guys have anything on this game? If not, won't hold it against you.
No.
It's the catch, like, it's like 50-50. Like, did Michigan use all of their, like, secrets against, like, an inferior opponent? Or did they put it all on tape so Ohio State has to prep for it? It's one of those things, like, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't.
Yeah.
But in Michigan's defense, it is good to, like, go on the road before, like, the game on Saturday and just beat the brace as an inferior opponent, like you're supposed to do. The game wasn't even close at all. So they did something they're supposed to.
Good to see a punt block, too, because punt blocks, there's been a few in the rivalry game between Ohio State and Michigan. So it's just good to see that unit find success, and maybe they can replicate something they found against Ohio State, because punt blocks are huge swing plays in a game like that. So maybe they can get something going on all 3 facets of the game.
Do you like the blue pants on the road?
Yeah, I don't mind it. I mean, I don't dislike anything. I'm kind of neutral on uniforms. Like they don't get me worked up. They don't get me worked down. That's not the phrase, but I guess if I had to rank them, that might be more beneficial. Just I like the mage pants the best, which I know they're pretty divisive. I think they pop, and then I would go the blue and then the white. I don't know. Something about the all white just seems so boring to me and like Alabama like. When it comes to uniforms, I just like a little pop. So I don't know. The blue pants are cooler against Wisconsin. It just depends on the game you're in. I like the uniform if it's a big game. I don't know. Something about that. But now we'll dive into our playoff rankings for this week that will be coming out tomorrow night or tonight when you're listening to the show and it releases. Curious to see how things change because we did have some shakeups in the top 10. Would anyone like to start this week?
Sure.
Alex, woohoo! Lay it on us.
Georgia.
Rile the people up. Okay.
New number 2 for me, Ohio State.
Wow, congrats, Ohio State.
Alabama is going to be 3.
Right.
Cincinnati is 4.
Well, good for them.
Yes, good for them. Number 5 will be Michigan.
That feels
6.
generous.
Am I missing someone or something? No. 6, Oklahoma State.
Wow.
7, Notre Dame.
Wow.
8, Baylor.
Wow.
9, Ole Miss.
A 2-loss team at 8. Wow.
And 9. And 10, Oklahoma.
Wow. Evan, me or you?
I can go because I have everything the same besides I have Ole Miss ranked in front of Baylor. So I have Georgia, Ohio State, Alabama, Cincinnati, Michigan, the Cowboys from Oklahoma State, the Fighting Irish, Lane Kiffin, Dave Aranda, and then Lincoln Riley.
So we have almost identical.
I like the pick to coaches there towards the end.
Correct.
It'd almost be funner if we just did the rankings that way.
I should have done it.
But mine are slightly different, so I will go through them. Georgia, Ohio State, they made the jump as well. Alabama, Cincinnati, Notre Dame at 5, 6, Michigan, 7, Oklahoma State, 8, Ole Miss, 9, Baylor, 10, Oklahoma. I'll get out in front of it now. It's becoming more and more apparent to me that Notre Dame is going to sneak their way into this college football playoff. And I was out in front of it last week. I'm just going to say it on the podcast now. I got it in my group chats last week. Now it's out there. This team is going to find a way to this playoff, and it's going to be gross because I just don't want to see Jack Cohn play on New Year's Day.
I'm praying for the Oklahoma schools. Whichever one wins Saturday wins again, so they can be in over Notre Dame. I don't want to see Notre Dame. They're gross.
So do they just rematch against each other?
They just play again.
I believe so. I believe Oregon and Utah are probably going to do that as well.
Yeah, they'll just.
Well, unless Oklahoma loses, then Baylor would go because Baylor holds a tiebreaker over them.
I don't know how the Big 12 works.
It's a good question.
It's the top 2 teams.
They're
the top 2 teams in the conference, no matter what.
Yeah,
Oklahoma State's in, basically, so they're undefeated.
No, they are in, no matter what.
Wait, they lost to someone, but was it out of conference?
I think they're undefeated in conference play.
No, they lost to Iowa State.
They lost to Iowa State.
Oh, bummer. So I think they're in no matter what still because then Oklahoma is the only one that holds a tiebreaker over them, and they beat Baylor.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I based on those 2 teams, none of are great, so I would easily see them splitting those matchups. And then if that happens, if they split, and then all you need is Georgia to beat Alabama, and I think Notre Dame's safely in this.
Notre Dame's in. Then it's Georgia, Ohio State, Cincinnati, Notre Dame.
That's disgusting.
And the Georgia
That's the Georgia
happy because they can just go already to the finals because Jack Cohn's not beating that defense.
That's the Georgia Invitational.
If Oklahoma loses and Baylor wins Saturday, Baylor's in. Oklahoma State's in no matter what.
I just said.
Do you guys think Oklahoma State, what's the bigger chance that Oklahoma State loses? Playing Oklahoma twice or playing Oklahoma than Baylor?
Oklahoma twice.
Yeah. Tough to beat.
There's no way you give Lincoln Riley twice against one defense and he doesn't score 45 one of them.
Yeah.
Unless his quarterback Spencer Rattler. Who would have thought that would be
Well, Dave Aranda is a very good defensive coach, and it was like a 27-21 game against Baylor earlier in the year. So
I do think Oklahoma State's the best team in the Big 12. That means anything.
That probably feels great for the Cowboys fans that listen.
Do you think so? I think Oklahoma's better than them.
Evan, Oklahoma struggled with Kansas, so I can't get that out of my mind until they're back to winning.
We struggled with Rutgers, so I think
aren't in the playoff debate. So
Oklahoma's only lost is to a ranked team on the road, and we lost to a non-ranked team by 2 scores.
No, they're ranked.
Nah, Alex, you can't do that. They weren't ranked. You made
Purdue
them
is not ranked. They will not be ranked.
What are you doing? Why are you even talking about Michigan State? I said
Because
Oklahoma State's the best team in the Big 12.
Evan's coping still.
We're talking about the Big 12. What are you talking about?
You're complaining about a win, and so I'm going to complain about a win.
What am I complaining about? I said Oklahoma State is the best.
Beat Kansas.
Yes.
They're not that good.
I said Oklahoma State is better than Oklahoma because Oklahoma almost lost to Kansas. I didn't say anything about Michigan State or the Big Ten.
But they're your team.
I get it. You're upset about the loss. I get it.
No, I'm not coping with the loss because I said on this podcast, you're going to have to drink during the game to cope with the loss. Everybody should have got over it when they woke up Sunday.
I just don't know what you're arguing about and why Michigan State
during the game felt good.
Brought in to this. I don't get it.
Your argument is that Oklahoma's not that good because they beat somebody.
And they haven't beat anyone. They haven't beat a ranked team.
Well, by your definition, Texas was ranked, so they beat them.
Texas? Evan.
That was a good win at the time. That felt like a good win.
You said Purdue would have got ranked, and so Texas was ranked when they beat them.
Then get rid of the ranked argument. Oklahoma hasn't beaten a team that is ranked. Oklahoma have they even beat a team that is over 500?
Big 12 fans, tune in on this week of Shut Up Michigan Sports.
Can you confirm?
Yep.
Okay, cool.
Confirmed. While you try to confirm, this thing's a great place for a Codes Apparel ad read. Folks, holiday.
Yeah, baby.
Have you guys started your holiday shopping, yes or no?
No.
No. I have nobody to holiday shop for.
The fam.
We don't really get gifts for each other.
All right, respectable. I started thinking of a list. I have not actually pulled the trigger on any purchases, but if I was going to, maybe I'd recommend Codes Apparel, CODESAPPAREL.com. So what they have is, besides the standard area code merch of the little Michigan logo with the area code inside of it, you know, the 231, the 517, the 734, you can represent where you're from. It's a good conversation starter, especially I've noticed, you know, if you wear that stuff to like an airport, people seem to wear like their state stuff when they travel on flights. So you can represent where you're from. They have all that. And then also have our Michigan State Woodshed merch line. Last home game of the season coming up against Penn State. Will not be there in time for that game. I can guarantee that. But for next season, when Mel Tucker has the Woodshed rocking, then you'll have your merch in time for that. And also this podcast merch with the little Shotcast logo lives on that site. So, like I said, Black Friday deals are coming. Honestly, you should probably just wait till by then. Small Business Saturday or something like that. That'll happen. And then also Cyber Monday. So keep an eye out for those. And, support a small business instead of Walmart or Amazon. They don't need your money. Although it is nice how fast their shipping times is. Codes Apparel, not that fast. But fast enough. And there's a deadline date that can be guaranteed you'll get it there in time. So look out for that. Now,
Oklahoma.
Oh, jeez. Back to this.
They have beat two teams that are, no, there you go, 3. See, boom.
2 of them are 6-5 and 1 is 7-4. So, whatever.
It's irrelevant because they're going to lose this weekend and it'll be fine.
Correct. And then I'll feel...
they probably will win, actually, now that we say that.
I'll feel better about what I said.
Now, game previews. Everyone's favorite thing to do. We'll start with Michigan State, who, as of midday when I looked it up, they were -0.5 point favorites.
Moved quite a bit.
Versus Penn State at Spartan Stadium, over under 51.5. 3:30 p.m. ABC. Announcing crew.
Cash and whatever the redhead's name is.
Demotion to Beth Mowens after the egg they laid against Ohio State.
Jesus Christ.
I hope so.
Feels appropriate.
Doesn't feel appropriate.
Feels right. I don't have any interest.
A lot of shitty games on Saturday.
Whoa.
There are.
Not really. There's a lot of good games.
There's a few. There's like 4.
It's not the best rivalry weekend ever, but rivalry week is always great no matter what.
I mean, Huntington Bank Stadium is going to be bumping.
I knew that would be your game that you wanted included.
Oh, Minnesota?
Minnesota. I did pick them in our thing.
Haven't thought about them in a while. Also, this is for the...
Well, Alex, the problem is there's games on Thursday and Friday.
I know. It's weird. It's a weird schedule.
Shame on me for not mentioning it off the rip. The Battle for the Land Grant Trophy, one of
Best
the
trophy in sports.
better looking trophies in sports.
Worst trophy in sports.
It's a joke, Evan.
Leading question here, Evan. You are the king of this take that Michigan State will end James Franklin's Penn State career.
Yeah.
Is that still happening?
Yes, it absolutely is. Because I will never, ever think that a team that is led by Sean Clifford and James Franklin will go into a ranked opponent's house and win. James Franklin is one of the most overrated coaches in America, and their offense isn't that good. Sean Clifford will turn the ball over at least once.
Before you keep going, Evan. Sean Clifford is probably not playing. So
Really?
that's
Even better. And breaking news, we're still only a 1-point favorite.
Is that true?
that's
He's
what I read
not
today.
playing?
I read today he didn't play the last game.
What? Michigan broke him. Wow. You're welcome.
So let me confirm.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
But you keep going. Evan. I'll confirm.
It will be kind of weird because I predicted at the beginning of the season you're going to ask Alex
Confirmed.
that James Franklin will be fired after this game. I think it's more going to be like we're parting ways and James Franklin's going to take a different job. Not going to get fired, but he's not going to be with Penn State the following year. You want to break down the game? I mean,
Christian Valou is playing quarterback.
I wonder if that's the kid that played against Iowa, because I guess that's where the preview would start and stop. If that dude plays, even with all Michigan.
I thought that kid's name was Bolden.
This is a different kid.
But I could be wrong.
This is a different kid.
Oh, wow. And I'm seeing an article from Sports Illustrated, quote, he's been ready for the moment.
He was 15 of 24 for 235 and 3 against Rutgers.
Asterisk 6 against Rutgers.
Rutgers has the worst pass defense in the Big Ten.
Let me get my eyes on this kid.
Just in front of us.
Second worst.
Oh, boy. He has a punchable face, I'll tell you that. He's from Ontario. He's Canadian.
He only targeted Jahan Dotson 3 times.
He was a 3-star quarterback out of high school, 6'3.5", 201 pounds.
Are you trying to scare us about a Penn State backup quarterback that's played 1 game this year?
No, why are you so sensitive? I'm just giving people background information on who you're facing.
Yeah, he's doing his podcasting duties.
You're sensitive.
Without my
Ohio State
podcasting
broke you.
duties, you guys wouldn't even know that Sean Clifford wasn't playing.
Fair.
You were just going into about how Sean Clifford was going to turn the ball over.
Inferior programs.
Well, we don't know if Sean Clifford's done. He could play.
He got hurt in the Rutgers game and didn't come back in, and I read that he's not going to play again.
Now, but then...
Sounds like you don't do anything at work, and Grant and I work our butts off all day. That's why we couldn't look at it.
I love that narrative.
Simply popped up on the
I love that
Twitter
narrative.
that we both all are on, so I just read it, and I just moved on.
Now, does it cancel out if Michigan State's going through their slew of injuries? Like, what Michigan State team, we don't know, but what do you think we're going to see on the field on Saturday? Who's playing, who's not?
Well, we don't know, and we won't know. So that's.
I think a solid of our players are still going to play. Like I still like Harold Joyner running the ball. I think he should get more handoffs.
What? Kenneth isn't playing every snap of this game.
If Walker's like
he's gonna get spelled.
gets bagged in the NFL.
If he's not,
we're not playing for the Big Ten anymore.
If he's not playing, I wouldn't like Michigan State's chances.
Of course you wouldn't.
Is that egregious to say that the best player in the country is not running for Michigan State? I don't like their chances.
He's going to play, I think.
Alex, not everything is an attack on your school. I'm just trying to talk as a national observer. If Kenneth Walker doesn't play, I don't like Michigan State.
The people need to know anyways that you've said for weeks that Michigan State is going to lose to Penn State.
Yes, this only cements that case.
Oh, come on, Grant.
But,
okay. Could Michigan State lose to Penn State? Absolutely.
Yes.
But they're not going to because James Franklin's head coach. I'm going off the notion since, Kenneth Walker barely played against Ohio State. He probably won't play that much. So I'm under the impression that he's not going to play. I would see Harold Joyner more. I'd like to see Elijah Collins more. It being senior night, I would expect Elijah Collins to get at least 10 to 15 handoffs if Kenneth Walker's not playing. Now, he's been there since 2012, bro. He's got to be a senior.
This is not the Deepwater mentality I thought I'd find from two Spartan fans.
Deepwater mentality, you go on to any student group based thing, it is just a slew of people selling tickets.
Elijah Collins is a junior, so.
Asterisks against Evans.
So there's your ticket update that Evan warned you about.
People are selling tickets left and right. This stadium will
there's
be
going to be no one there. Yeah, there's going to be no one there.
Yeah, it's going to be that deep water is going to be shallow water, going up against the beach.
They're better off with the no deep water sign on Saturday. There's no need.
You better rip it off. But I still like most of our players that will play. Like,
is Reed
based on
Reed's probably not going to play.
Oh my
if
goodness!
Naylor doesn't play and Reed doesn't play, we are talking about Trey Mosley and Keon Coleman.
Hey, Alex, welcome to the club. The Penn State club.
We still have athletes at
I'm not going to predict we're going to lose though. They have
like you roll out there and our quarterback is better than their quarterback. That's a plus for us.
Yep. Is Peyton Thorne even going to play at this point?
Yes, Peyton Thorne is fully healthy. He's playing.
And at this point, like most of our defense is healthy. Maybe Crouch won't play.
I would say Crouch is probably not going to play.
Wolf.
I don't know about
BVS.
Farrell.
BVS.
Ben doesn't play anyways.
If BVS plays 90% of snaps, does Michigan State still win?
No.
That's all it takes. I found it. I found the line.
Noah Harvey, thankfully, will play over him. So that doesn't.
She'll have Ma.
And Ma will play over Ben.
Cal Halliday should take a day off because that dude's been rocking that club since like week 1.
The clubs is just getting out of hand.
And like the secondary, I mean,
is all right. You know, it's just we don't have depth right now, and I think it would be all right. Penn State can't run the ball.
True. We know that. We've confirmed that.
And they have a backup quarterback.
Sometimes it's better,
I still like our chances.
It's still at home. It's still senior day, and it's a bounce back spot. You know, you got to get up off the mat after drubbing, and I'm curious to see if they can do it.
I'm curious to see, I guess, then if Penn State is like laying down because they don't have much to play for. But if like Parker Washington and Jahan Dotson are out there ripping around, I think it's going to be a long day for the Michigan State secondary.
And we still have a chance to play like a New Year's Six Bowl if we play well.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's winning.
I really hope that is discussed in the locker room because it has to be. Because New Year's Six Bowls don't come around often, and it's definitely a recruiting tool. It's definitely like a good motivation.
You need the national stage. Absolutely need to win.
It's good for players, and I still understand the players that don't want to play in the bowl game because they have like NFL futures, but it's good for everybody else to experience that.
And we need it for the program.
All right. Predictions. Must-win meter.
Must-win meter. 100% must-win meter. Fire somebody upon a loss.
Really?
I'm looking at you, Scotty.
I would say fire
Scotty
if we give up over 35.
That seems fair. Penn State's offense.
Score prediction. What's the over-under? 51.5?
Yeah.
Well, Michigan State's definitely covering.
I will go.
I'll go 28 to 17.
All right.
I'll go.
Sure. Get after it.
Expecting a loss. Michigan State. Well, I guess I have to say the winning team first. Penn State 24.
Unbelievable.
Michigan State 13.
Oh, that's disgusting. 13 points?
Yeah, listen to you guys talk about how you may not think Reed and Walker are playing. Where's the offense coming from? And Penn State's defense is better than Ohio State's defense. Newsflash.
Is Penn State's defense better than Michigan's? Newsflash.
It's just as good.
They scored 37 against them.
Kenneth Walker played in that football game.
Kenneth Walker probably is going to play in this game.
Maybe I'm hedging if he doesn't.
No, this is you said it 2 weeks ago, and you have to stick with it. I get it,
and I believe it. I
don't care.
I don't disbelieve it. If anything, it's stronger.
I don't care. I'll say it's
defensive.
A must. No, I just don't care about your. You've said this for weeks. I'm used to it. You don't want them to win. That's fine.
Correct. I don't want them to win any game they play.
Fine.
But that doesn't impact my unbiased predictions.
I would not fire anyone unless we give up over 35, and then I would fire Hazelton. And I think Michigan State will win. Well, I was going to say the same score Evan said. I'll go, I think it'll be close, 27-24.
All right. Now, to the game of the year in the Big Ten Conference. What's going to decide the East?
Or chance to Indy.
And what might decide Jim Harbaugh's tenure at Michigan, if it hasn't already been decided.
College football quarterfinal game.
Yeah, I love that. It is playoff season. This is the playoffs. Michigan plus 7.5 versus Ohio State in Ann Arbor. Over under 63.5. Big noon kickoff on Fox. We already know the announcers. I guess we'll start with the listener questions, at least one of them, because it's a good opening question. Is this the most important game in Jim Harbaugh's career outside of the Super Bowl where he faced his brother?
It's just as important when they lost when JT got the first. So it's of equal importance.
I am going on the limb that
I say
I think it's more important than the 2016 game. I think it's not as important as a Super Bowl. Now, I don't know where you...
Super Bowl's more important.
I don't know what you think about, like, NFC Conference Championship games when they beat the Packers. That was insane. But, like, I don't know how to rate that. I don't know about, like, any of the games at Andrew Luck. I didn't do that much research for it. I'm just telling you, like, in my gut, what I would feel like this has to be probably second behind that Super Bowl because he's, like, from Michigan and, like, hates Ohio State. And, like, this is, like, feels like a make-or-break year for him as a coach at Michigan.
I think the NFL playoffs are more important to them. Probably. Just guessing.
The NFC Championship game and Super Bowl and the other NFC Championship game they lost, I would put in front of this game. But that's just me.
Evan, your thoughts?
this is the most important game. Yes, this is the most important game in Jim Harbaugh's career.
More than the
This
Super
team
Bowl.
defines him
More
as
than,
a coach. Yes, more important than the Super Bowl.
I love it.
Yes.
I don't love
This
for
is
him.
more important than the 2016 game, the 2018
I think
game.
the stakes are higher for him as a coach. I think maybe I'm just misreading
But
the question.
You're not going to get fired when you lose that Super Bowl. He got fired
That's what I
like
mean. But that game to him was probably more important. Like he wants to win the Super
don't care
Bowl.
about how he felt personally. This game
He wants to
is
win the
most
Super Bowl
important
more
game
than he
of
wants
his
to beat
career.
Ohio State. I mean, come on. You think?
This game has the biggest career implications, maybe?
There we go.
Correct.
Agree with that.
It
I
does.
don't fucking know. I don't care.
I don't give a shit.
But I thought it was a good question.
This game is way bigger than the 2016 game because he is in a long tenure at Michigan and he hasn't beat Ohio State yet.
Yes.
Like if you look at the 2016 loss, brutal loss, as a Michigan fan, you probably hate your life still. But
Correct.
you're like, okay, there's only like his second season. We have so much going for him.
The freshness in the car has worn off. It was a fresh, shiny Maserati, and
Yeah.
now it's a beat-down Ford F-150. No offense to
Now
Ford
you finally
F-150s.
ripped off the
but
sticker, and it's just a bug. It's just Herbie fully loaded underneath
it's
that.
a
hood.
Firmly fully loaded, Evan won that race.
It started. It started out as a fresh 5950 hat with the sticker on, and now it's a sweated through dad hat that you're ashamed to wear out in public.
Yeah.
So, with that being said, then would a win this Saturday negate the previous 6 years of letdown? Letdown, as the listener defines, is not making a trip to Indy.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree, 100%.
100%.
How could it not?
100% agree.
What's
Like,
6 years before? What are you talking about? They beat Ohio State.
Exactly.
Would they lose to
Exactly.
Wisconsin?
You forget about those 6 years because you can just hang your hat over this, and it's always, what have you done for me recently? And this is the number one thing.
Yep.
Why is Grant accepting defeat like a coward before we've even kicked off?
We're not there yet. I'll get to that.
Well, I just wanted to make sure that was out there.
First of all, if Michigan loses, likely, is Harbaugh gone after this year? Let's do what do you think will happen and what would you do
No,
if you made the decisions?
I don't think he will be gone.
I don't think he's gone either. Evan?
He's gone. He is not gone.
Okay, now you're AD at Michigan. Would you make a change?
Do we know who the change is going to be? Like, who's the guy?
You could decide. You're the AD.
But we can just get anyone we want.
Not anyone. I'll shoot it down if it's unreasonable. As someone who has a good pulse of what I think they could attain, I'll let you know if you could get them.
Luke Fickle.
I think you could get Luke Fickle. It'd be a bag, but I think you could get him.
What about Brian Kelly?
No.
What about?
He's gone.
I'm just wondering.
But you would want Brian Kelly taking over the program after Jim Harbaugh?
What about Joe Brady?
No. You could not get him.
Dude, he's an NFL offensive coordinator. He's about to be
Evan,
interviewed for
these
a bunch
are
of NFL head coaches.
hypotheticals. Maybe I'm not the sensitive
This is a good
one.
test of you're saying these are all guys you'd rather have coach at Michigan if you were the AD than Harbaugh.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, so that's good to know as well.
Yeah, I would take Joe.
We don't have to get too deep into this because obviously the game is more important. Like this might mean nothing if they win because he's not getting fired and I don't want to fire him. But I'll say this before we get into the game so I don't flip flop. If they lose this game, especially if it's not close, I'm totally cool moving on from him, even after this season.
Totally cool and wanting him gone are different. Answer the question. Do you want him gone after this if they lose?
It's not fair. Tell me how they lose.
They lose 41-17.
Yeah, I see you.
Okay, next question.
Well, I guess it's the wise Grant accepting defeat like a coward. Oh wait, Evan, would you get rid of him?
I would not get rid of them, no matter the outcome of the game.
That's because you guys are Michigan State fans and you like being able to beat them.
No, there's multiple reasons why, and if you were going to get rid of them, you should have done it last year. You're at 10 wins. Most of your offense is going to be coming back next year.
Yeah. Well,
and
JJ's transferring.
We discussed this at the beginning of the year.
Definitely.
Would Harbaugh go if he lost like a bunch of players? We said no because of the new coaching staff he brought in.
Yeah, I do like them. Well, I like some of them. Listener also wants to know, listener's a Michigan fan, why is Grant accepting defeat in
Like
this
a
game
coward.
like a coward before we've even kicked off? I've been told that friendship is on the line if I don't put my nuts on the table, quote, and say that Michigan's going to win. Well, guess what? It's going to be a good test of the friendship because I don't think Michigan's winning this football game. And I'm not going to sit here and try to pretend like they're going to win. Am I going to root as a Michigan fan as hard as I can during the game? As long as the game's close? Absolutely.
He's fart.
No, it's this thing, dude.
I thought farting gets a smile.
No. This I-home kind of spurts sometimes. But
Yeah, that's what I thought.
I will do whatever I can in my power to try to will this team to victory, but I'm not an insane person. I used to be when it came to this team. And we all know the definition of insanity is expecting a different outcome and trying the same thing. And this has been happening for years. We can just get into the quick rundown of why Grant's accepting defeat. You can call it coward you want. Okay? Since 2001, Michigan's won this game twice. Okay? That could just sink in for like 5 minutes and think about. Since 2001,
20
Michigan
years.
has won twice.
2 wins in 20 years.
One was in 2003 and the other was in 2011. You know how like when people say like when something happens a long time, they'll say like what the gas price was, what was the hot movie in box theaters. I just thought in my life, in 2011, the last time Michigan won this game, I was 15 years old. I couldn't drive a vehicle by myself, and I was a virgin. Okay? So those are some things that were...
Ended up still in.
Those are... Stop it. Those are some things going on in my life. I was 15 years old. I'm 24 now. I was 15. Why would I think that this team's going to be different? Like, why? And especially after what I watched last Saturday against a team that beat Michigan. What am I going to see magically pull out of thin air that's like, you know what? Michigan can win this game. Obviously, they could. It's college football. Crazy things happen. But I'm not going to sit here and, like, predict it or try to, like, sell people on why it's going to happen. So that's where it starts. I mean...
Want to get into juicy X and O's? Or?
I would say if you want to play the spin zone to give you hope, if you wanted to latch on to something to think that maybe they could win, has nothing to really do with these teams. But this is the first time in the rivalry history since 1997 that a one-loss Michigan team is hosting the game in Ann Arbor. It has been true that whenever the game's massive like this, and it's like the top 5 showdown, it's in Columbus, which sucks because that place is a zoo. In one of the games, LeBron and his crew was on the sideline, making it even worse for me. But I guess I would say the keys overall to this game is like we did for Michigan State, in my opinion. I'm curious to see what you guys think because obviously you guys were locked in, watch your team play them. Getting pressure on C.J. Stroud with your 2 NFL edge rushers is super important. Like, he has to feel pressure, and it'll only be more beneficial if that pressure doesn't have to come through sacrificing a guy on a blitz. You're probably going to need as many men in coverage as you can muster in this game with still getting pressure. 2, I would say probably the biggest one in the game is just limiting the big plays from Ohio State. I do think Michigan State could have made a slightly closer game if like they didn't give up 40-plus yard touchdown passes. Like, there's one thing to get scored on a lot and make the other team chew clock. It becomes a whole different can of worms and unattainable when they're hitting on bombs from the 50-yard line, and then it's like, okay, well, there goes that. And then lastly, it just relates back to kind of the Michigan State point with the running game is like Michigan has to assert themselves in the running game on that side of the football. They can't be letting Haskell Garrett dart in for several tackle for losses and things like that. Like, you have to run the ball and chew clock.
Luckily for Michigan, we know that a Harbaugh coach team is not going to abandon the run. They will try to bully teams. So that, you won't abandon it.
True. Anywhere you guys want to
back off of that, I think it's actually going to be beneficial that the one kind of Harbaugh is stubborn.
No, I agree.
His play calling,
I was serious.
Philosophy, it's actually going to be beneficial.
It could be.
You might hate your life and you might hate your life and think, why are we running the ball when we can't move the ball? Well, there's a reason for it, and that's one of the reasons why Michigan State should have ran the ball more.
3 yards in a cloud of dust.
So how do you guys see
Haskins?
matchups?
He is the better running back of everybody on your team, and I think he's a bigger body running back. I think it's beneficial.
Mm-hmm.
How do I see the matchups?
Any matchups you're looking at? Anything that, like, I guess we know how all three of us think the game is going to go, or like it's not feasible. Maybe Evan's going to surprise us, but I guess like if you're gonna, I guess for the sake of Michigan listeners, give us the spin zone of like the strategy if you're going to win this game as Michigan.
I just wanted to say one other thing. We're getting pressure on Stroud. I saw a stat. He has 16 touchdowns, 0 interceptions when facing the blitz this year, and like an 80% completion percentage.
It was probably a lot higher after you said that.
So yeah, probably went up.
Which is impressive, and that's why I
So,
think the key is
It's going to
getting
be tough to rattle.
getting that blind pressure from edge rushers, not blitzing.
Yeah. Yep. So spin zone. Well, how can Michigan win?
Like strategy, yeah. I don't know. Something.
Don't blitz. Number one, just get pressure with the front four. You can do that. It'll help you out a lot, like you said. 2, just drop in coverage and just nothing over the top and just make them go all the way down the field and hope that they mess up in the red zone. Just so don't do what Michigan State did, have blunders in the secondary and have safeties not running with them and get beat over the top. Don't get beat over the top, no matter what. Give up 10 yards. Don't give up 50. And then offensively, you got to try to establish the run. And you have to be stubborn about it, and I think Harbaugh will. And then if you can get the run game going a little bit, the play action could open up, and that's when you could strike on a big play or on maybe like one of your Eric All tight end crossers or something. I don't know. But if you establish the run and you prevent the big plays, you can stay in the game for a while.
Evan?
Does help it being home. 100%. I think the home crowd could impact it. I don't know if you can get all those old geezers up and running. You're going to have to tell them actually to stand up.
I don't think Michigan fans like that.
Well, that's a problem. It's a test for your new defensive coordinator. He can't change personnels. He can't rotate defensive guys because Ohio State does run no huddle.
They go fast. They're going fast.
And if Michigan State can get Michigan in a tizzy over that, Ohio State's going to have no problems. So they need to be on
Yes, so that's one fix you have to have. And I honestly think you have to play like NFL does, and he might do it since he can't play in the NFL. You just have to leave a safety deep in the middle of the field, 15, 20 yards back, and say, everything is staying in front of us. I don't care what's happening. You put a safety just in the middle of the field deep, and you say, look at us now. Yeah, they might hit you to death, and it's going to be annoying to watch, but it's like the sacrifice you have to take. And then when you get in the red zone, windows get smaller, play calling gets
tougher,
smaller, and then that's defensively. And I agree with you, Grant. I think you have to get pressure with 4. When you do blitz, it has to be
you got to get there
flawless. It's got to get there. I want to say you have to take away his first option, but it's so hard to guess like what his first option is. He's beyond his freshman capability. He doesn't look just to one side like some freshman quarterbacks do. He's actually scans the entire field. Then offensively, I think you got to get cute. You got to open up the entire playbook. There's got to be plays in the folder that you haven't looked at in 6 years. You have to run a couple trick plays. You're going to have to run something on special teams that they haven't seen before. And then time of possession.
One other thing. If you do get to the red zone, you have to score touchdowns. You cannot kick field goals. You cannot do what you did against Michigan State. Has to get in the end zone.
I think 100% agreed. I think some things strategy-wise that I want to see and maybe fans can look out for is I think as much as like Josh Ross is a captain and has played well and most of the games this year, I think this could be a big Mike Barrett game where you put him as that hybrid linebacker. He's way faster, better in coverage, and you just let if Ohio State's going fast, like we may not see Josh Ross on the field for a whole defensive drive, maybe until the red zone, and like you let Michael Barrett sit there with the other linebacker. Hill, Green, or Colson and figure it out because, like, on the crossing routes, I just still have PTSD from 2018. Like, Josh Ross is not going to excel there. So I don't know how you're going to utilize that. Or you do what Mike McDonald's been doing a lot is where you disguise it and you have one of the defensive linemen drop back and just try to, like, just level a guy running a crossing route. Do that, Well, utilize the legal contact that you're allowed to make in college to negate it. I honestly think if I was Mike McDonald and the defense, I would be totally cool in trying to let Travion Henderson run for like 175 in this game or more. Like, they're obviously the best. He's still good. He's great. He's a great running back. Their best asset is how they get away in games with their passing. So, like Evan said, too high shell, whatever you need, put that one safety way back. If Travion Henderson's going to run for 175, it's going to run for 175. And I think that just, like, shrinks the game enough where you can hang around in it longer. And then maybe offensively, don't be afraid to throw the deep bomb. Like, they don't do it a lot, but, like, you can't be afraid of it. Obviously, we have a friend, Ohio State fan, like, he's talking about the secondary. It's just a bunch of young guys. Like, their defense is young. They're going to play okay because they're Ohio State. Like, there's talent there, but that's not the strength. Like, you have to challenge it. Maybe you'll get a friendly PI call at home. Like, those are things that are going to swing games where you just have to take shots downfield, and you can't be afraid in, like, your average depth of throw for Cade, it's like 6 yards. Like, the ball has to be slung. If you're going to throw a pick and lose a game, so be it. But you can't be afraid to lose the game. You have to go and try to actively win a game like this, and that's something that Jim Harbaugh's not great at. That's why they choked in 2016, because it was very passive at points. One little really stupid nugget, but something to watch out for that'll probably happen is I've seen Cade throw. He likes to, like, change his arm slot. He's throwing a lot of, like, low sidearm type throws that tend to get batted down at the line, or he's even hit the offensive lineman in the helmet like twice this year. And I saw Ohio State's D-line knock down 1 million throws against Michigan State. So that's something just to keep your eye on. They'll probably be swatting balls down left and right. I really think that's it. I will say I don't anticipate this game as ugly as the Michigan State game. That might be like a well-dug rant. Like we said, that was a historic top 10 blowout. Like, I do expect for me to, like, have a reason to watch this game going into the third quarter and mid-third quarter still be thinking, like, okay, if they get a stop and a score, this will be a game. And just based on, like, what I've seen throughout my life, yes, like I said, they're not winning the games, but the games historically have not been done at halftime. It's where it gets away from you in the third quarter, and then it spirals because obviously in rivalry games they don't take their foot off the gas and they run it up. So that's what happens. I mean, even like in the 62-39 year, it was still a game like at the start of the third quarter. So I'm hoping that's the case. That it's at least an enjoyable football game for the country. And now we will get to the obvious part, the predictions and the must-win meter.
Evan, take it away.
Predictions. Expecting a loss. I mean, the first two plays had penalties, and then they didn't do anything wrong the rest of the game.
That's a good point. I thought like we were going to be for a Michigan State upset game after the way they handled the opening kick and then false started at home. I was like, Michigan State's here, baby. And then nope.
Spin Zone had cool helmets, cool uniforms. I think they put for us.
Great.
Score prediction. Staying on track. Don't see it. I just don't see how. It'd be kind of close though.
Come on, Evan. Spit it out.
I like it. Look at how disheveled his hair gets. He's just thinking.
I'll say
the most listened
Ryan
to.
Day said he wants to hang 100, and they deflected him last year.
No, but I heard that
Okay.
he got confused because he thought the state was crossed out on your jerseys and thought you guys were Michigan.
Stop.
Oh, I'll say 48-20, Buckeyes.
Alex.
Expecting loss. Michigan doesn't have the playmakers on the outside on offense. Ohio State is unbelievable. Ohio State, I do think, Grant, it'll be close in the third quarter in terms of it'll be a 2-score game in the third quarter. But the final score will be 51-17.
Whoa. So heavy escalation. So it's 27-17 potentially
At half.
in the third quarter,
At half.
and then it just goes.
Yes. Just like it does every year.
That's not true though.
Almost every year.
No, it's really not true.
Fine. 51-17. Don't need to back it up.
Like,
We'll see.
no, I agree, but I understand
the last couple.
2018, 2019 have been disgusting
The last two.
end results, but like for a large chunk of those 18 matchups that have gone Ohio State's way, they've been really close games, and especially when Michigan teams have been dog dog shit, and they've competed against a much. Like, I think Michigan's been a higher ranked team twice in that time frame. So they do find a way to get up for it. Obviously, they have to. But I will say for the program and for what like it feels, it's a must win. You have to win this game when you have a chance at home. It's a must win. Do I think they'll win? No, obviously. I've said that several times. But it is a must win. Like, the stakes of the game, like, you can't go into this as a fan and be like, oh, like, we're just going to get our doors blown off. I would expect you to lose, like, this team, blah, blah, blah. It's a must win mentality. However, I guess my score prediction in this case would be Ohio State 38, Michigan 27.
That's close. That's a lot of points for Michigan.
Yeah, Purdue put up 31. I don't think, like,
In garbage time.
I don't think Ohio State's defense is good. I think they're an average unit, and they have an elite offense. So, I mean, college football, 27 points is not that much. It'd be below Michigan's average on the year.
51-17. 40, what did I say? 42-24?
I said
Something like that.
48-20 maybe?
21 maybe?
Great memory on this.
25-20? I know I had Michigan at 20. I don't know, maybe 42-20?
Our closing topic here, Thanksgiving. The weekend that this game falls on every single year. I just want to get it out of the way now. I apologize to the country for having to watch Tim Boyle versus Andy Dalton to kick off your
Could be David Blau after this week.
off your football.
I hope so. I hope it is David Blau.
I apologize for having to watch either Tim Boyle or David Blau versus
Jared
Andy Dalton.
Goff kind of practiced today.
I apologize for having to watch Jared Goff, Tim Boyle, or David Blau versus Andy Dalton.
But you get to have a
Apologize for
treat.
having to watch the Detroit lie-downs.
You get to watch DeAndre Swift.
And for years I would defend it and be like, no, like, at least give the Lions this game. I'm completely fine if the NFL takes away Thanksgiving from our franchise. We don't deserve it, frankly. We don't. It doesn't belong in Detroit. We stink so bad. You can't, if you are the first franchise ever to go 0-16 twice.
Whoa.
What?
We aren't going
Yeah, we tied.
0-16. We tied a game.
Yeah, 0-16 and 1. Boom. 0-16 twice.
That's not the same.
Oh, it is. It's 0-16 twice.
That's not the same.
It 100% is. You lost 16 games.
Sure,
Lions-
16 twice sounds good.
The Lions are going to win
I
on
hope we do.
Thursday.
0-16 twice. There needs to be a punishment for that. Take away Thanksgiving forever. Lions never get to play on a Thanksgiving game ever again.
The Lions will win. Lions are going to win Thursday.
Whoa!
Short week. We're going to catch them while they're down.
Now, what's more important? The food.
I'm a ham guy. There, I said it.
I don't think that's crazy.
There's just not that many people that go out there and be like, yeah, I love turkey.
I was going
Makes
to
me
say,
feel good that you
isn't-
guys said that.
isn't turkey universally regarded as overrated and only used because it's a tradition?
Yes,
Yeah.
correct.
It's just a dry meat. And
It's so dry.
it's just a gravy funnel. If you smother in gravy,
That's
it's
what
fine.
you just gotta down it in gravy, and it makes it so much better. But low key, I think the best part of turkey is like turkey leftovers. You just make a turkey sandwich with it.
Because it's lathered in other stuff.
I don't lather them that much stuff. I just make it like a regular turkey sandwich.
I think you have to, though. Like, I agree with ham, but you got to have both. Like, you can't just skip and go just ham. That seems a little much.
No, I mean, I still eat turkey. It's just I don't love it.
I think turkey should be present.
It's there. It's not like, well, we just have a ham and there's no turkey.
How do you guys do your turkey? Just a basic oven?
I don't know if my grandmother listens to this podcast, but she's not much of a chef. So the turkey's never too good.
Shot, Grandma.
Yikes.
But I won't be there this year. I'll be at the other side of the family. So I'm expecting great food on that side.
Typically, someone, either my uncle or cousins, they'll broil it right in the garage. They'll get that little silver stand up and they'll just be dunking
Your
that thing.
turkey has got to be so much. It's got to be good if they're deep frying it.
It's not bad.
Deep fried turkey is good.
But turkey itself is just
Very
not
nice.
like good. It's not bad. It's probably better than a lot of them out there, but it's not good.
You know what's the best turkeys? The turkey legs that Spartan Stadium used to have. Those were superior.
Those were good.
Any thoughts on other dishes?
Stuffing is the most overrated food for Thanksgiving.
Wow.
I'm not a cranberry sauce guy.
I'm not either.
Doesn't get me.
I don't
I
mind
just don't know
stuffing.
how people love. I don't know how you like stuffing so much. It's wet, soggy bread.
It's not always wet, I would say. Maybe yours is, but I don't think it's supposed to be wet.
It's baked bread. It's not.
But why wet? Where's the wetness?
Do you see how people make it? It is like you just put wet ingredients together. It's like disgusting.
I've never had wet stuffing.
I mean, the bread's not dry.
It's not completely dry.
It's like moist.
Oh.
It's moist bread.
But like
it's
when you
not
said
very
wet,
good.
I was imagining like soaking wet bread. It's just gross. But yeah, I mean, it's not great. It's not good. I'm a mashed potato guy.
Do you take a spoonful of stuffing at Thanksgiving?
I feel obligated to put a little bit of
stuffing.
everything on my plate. Yes.
I do not touch it. Haven't touched it in probably 20 years.
Now, granted, my family also has this weird oyster stuffing. I don't touch that. I mean, that's a no for me. So,
elaborate. Care to elaborate?
and that stuffing is wet. It's like the ocean.
You know, oysters are aphrodisiac,
Yes,
which means they make you want to get it on.
I don't eat it, so that's the end of that. You guys have mac and cheese on Thanksgiving?
Are you stealing off my thing I wrote? Do you guys think of mac and cheese as a Thanksgiving dish?
No, I didn't even know you wrote that.
I wish it was in our Thanksgiving, but most of the time it is not brought to Thanksgiving.
Same, but I think it should be.
I think it's a Southern thing. I think more Southern families bring mac and cheese to Thanksgiving.
I just love mac and cheese.
Mac and cheese is always at every Thanksgiving I've been to. As I don't love it. It's okay, but I feel spoiled now because you guys want it. I don't need it.
Well, Grant doesn't like carbs.
False. It's
Pasta,
not true.
and anything with noodles.
Not true.
Pretty much true.
We have cheesy potatoes. I love cheesy potatoes.
Noodles.
Ooh,
What noodles are you having at Thanksgiving?
No, I just meant
Just saying
general.
in general.
Grant doesn't like it.
Oh.
Sidetrack. We're on Thanksgiving.
This is probably a hotter take. I'm not a cheesy potato guy, and I usually get shot for that. I don't know. I don't.
Yeah, and I'm not talking about. I'm not saying au gratin. Au gratin potatoes stink. I'm talking cheesy, like on the top, crusted, baked potatoes.
I just don't know what it is. I don't, maybe texture. Like I don't know. I don't like them. I don't get it.
But you like mash.
What do you eat at Thanksgiving?
Mashed.
You don't like the turkey. You don't like the
Oysters.
stuffing. You don't like cheesy potatoes.
I don't mind the stuff.
Oyster.
I eat the stuff.
Oysters.
For one, I eat. We usually have corn.
You don't like cranberry sauce.
Ew, corn stinks.
I eat mashed potatoes. I eat turkey. I still eat it. I don't like hate turkey.
Mashed potatoes, honestly, are on the same tier as turkey for me. They're just gravy funnels. It's not that good.
Right, I do gravy.
It's a
all
good.
of it.
I down my mashed potatoes in butter, so it's completely.
The best thing about mashed potatoes is it's a great texture to have on your plate because when you need just a soft little bite, it's perfect.
We usually have like some green beans casserole.
Green bean casserole, elite. That would be
I
one
like
of the top
that.
of my Thanksgiving drafts.
Crescent rolls or some sort of roll.
Rolls are just a waste because it fills you up when there's better food
Just
to eat.
load them up with butter and you get after it. I don't know. I like most of the Thanksgiving food. I just think Thanksgiving in general is overrated.
Whoa. It's definitely not. It's one of the best holidays. Pumpkin.
You give thanks for your family. Come on.
That's not what I'm.
I
really
wasn't saying that. I was just
talking
saying
about.
food.
I just meant the feast itself. Like, why not just have an awesome dinner? But it doesn't have to be like turkey, mashed potatoes, cranberries. Why does it have to be that?
The Pilgrims, bro. Pumpkin pie is the only pumpkin thing I like.
Pumpkin pie's okay.
Pumpkin pie's elite.
I'm a
It's the number one
pecan pie
Thanksgiving
guy.
food. Nothing comes close to.
There's Evan's pick. Elite. We found it. We uncovered it. The pumpkin pie.
Is it
pumpkin
pecan or pecan? Pecan or pecan?
I'm a simpleton.
Pecan pie.
I say pecan.
I'm a pecan. I'm a pecan guy.
Pecan makes me think that I have my pinky up and I'm drinking.
Ooh, so pecan.
Regardless,
Pecan pie.
that's my favorite pie.
Ew.
Alamo.
That's so on
It's
brand
pretty
for
good.
you. It's
Pumpkin
alright.
pie is
Dude,
better
ew.
if it's been in the fridge and
You
it's a
say
little
ew
firmer.
to pecan pie?
Yeah, it's not that good.
It's phenomenal.
But the
Sweet
pies,
potatoes are actually really good.
yeah,
I like
those are
sweet
good with a little some cinnamon on them. But pie is basically just either a whipped cream or ice cream funnel for me as well. It's just what can I add onto it to make it taste better?
Do you like any food without sauce or some dressing or condiment?
Ham.
That's the only thing you like in life that you can eat by itself.
No, I'm talking about Thanksgiving.
Grant, it's probably true.
No.
You're a condiment funnel.
Now here's one thing. So you have
Look at that. He avoided it.
I like sauce. I like the sauce.
You're a condiment funnel.
You talk about the oysters. I don't know if Evan has anything unique. My unique thing that kind of stinks because unless I don't get to taste it unless we're with the whole family, but maybe I should try to make my own recipe. As a little appetizer, we would always have a chicken jalapeno homemade soup, and it's unbelievable. It's so good. It's like a creamy, like not too thick, and it's like shredded chicken, and it's like bits of jalapenos. It's unbelievably good, and it's like spicy, and it's like the perfect.
I am getting hungry.
So that was always like my favorite Thanksgiving thing because it's unique. And it's just I only get it that time, and it's so great. And I just wanted that in a little plastic styrofoam bowl. That's how we always have it. Oh, little crackers too.
Okay.
When do you guys eat? Do you guys eat during the Lions game? Is that when dinner is had?
Jesus.
What? Yes,
it's been a debacle for years.
What?
My grandma.
Because our state is super unique because our team plays at 12:30, so that changes when food's served.
Yeah, I love my grandma. Right, of course.
I don't know. It sounds like you may not. I mean, chopped her cooking. Now you're about to say something else.
But
everything before but.
She just, every year, the Lions were like decent for a while. So this Thanksgiving game was like mattering. And
Calvin Johnson 3 touchdowns.
Like we needed to win. It was like playoff push type game. And I swear to God, every single morning I get to my grandmother's house and I'm like, hey, the Lions game's at 12:30, as always. And it's probably going to be over around like 4:30-ish to be safe. So we should eat after that. Every year, 2 o'clock. Dinner's ready. Turn the TV off. So we all have to sit.
Oh, see, we just leave the TV on. So.
Sit at the table. Makes me turn the TV off. And I'm just like, are you kidding me? So then one year, we're sitting at the table. I took the remote with me to the table and I turned the television on. And I could like see it in the background. She's like, oh, you don't need to be watching that. It's a football game. So that's my gripe. Every year, my grandmother just plans the dinner in the middle of the football game. And we don't like, I know a lot of families like eat wherever, like you just kind of like somewhere around the house, like everyone's just sitting on the couch eating. No, like we got to sit at the table, we got a kid's table, and no TV and all this. And it's just like,
What do you guys talk about? Like your lives?
We go around the table and say what we're thankful for. And
oh, God.
Like, it's so ridiculous.
Dude, I don't know if I've actually done that shtick of that like in a while.
Every year. And it's just like, God, am I living in the 1900s? I just don't know. And that's why, like, this year, I was pretty against going to that side of the family's house. And we're not.
You're going to be, this year would be the year to go and just be like, yeah, you know what, Grandma? Let's keep that TV off all day. We don't need to see a snap of this game. You're right. Because it's like they stink.
Yeah, I love my family. It's just like that Thanksgiving agenda could be done a lot better.
Wow, I can't relate to a single thing that you laid out there. Everyone's just sitting in like folding chairs, sometimes in a garage.
One year.
Sometimes just in a garage watching the game.
Not to keep going on this, but one year we did Saturday Thanksgiving because I was on the other side of the family on Thanksgiving, and it was the Michigan-Ohio State game 2016 game.
And not on TV.
And she's like, dinner time, and I just put my foot down. I'm like, I am not eating right now. And I came to dinner when the game ended. Because I was like, there's just no way that I'm going to not watch the end of this football game.
I mean, some of my best memories are just being like mid-bite and then like a terrible Lions quarterback throwing a pick and everyone in the garage going, oh, typical Lions.
It should be also known that the only people that care about the Lions at that Thanksgiving are my dad and I. So we're the only ones who are watching.
Damn.
And everyone else is like, doesn't give a shit.
Damn.
A lot of females. It's a female-dominant family.
That makes me appreciate how good I used to have it, like in my high school and early college years with our like massive 40-person family setup. It legitimately all dudes in the garage and then all the females in the house doing female things. And then you go in and they wouldn't even be watching the Cowboys game before; they'd be watching like American Idol. I'm like, this is your guys' Thanksgiving? You should see what's going on out there.
Yeah, it's not like that at all. That's probably why I think Thanksgiving's overrated.
Absolutely. You're missing out.
Yeah, my Thanksgiving just is not that exciting. I hope my grandparents or anyone that goes to this Thanksgiving doesn't listen.
I hope your sister.
Dad, if you're listening, don't tell anyone.
I hope your sister plays. I hope your sister plays this audio.
She's not going to get this far in the show.
Evan, you eat during the game?
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, we're like an afternoon kind of eat family, and so we usually eat during the game. But in defense, the TV stays on, and it's always like playing in the background. And there's most of the time, like we eat around like the table, and like just the TV is just like front and center.
Who comes to your things?
As it should be.
We're getting way off topic.
Well, it depends on like every other year. Like I go to one side of the family, then the other year I go to the other side of the family.
Is it ever at your house?
We have been hosting it when it's my mom's side of the family. This year it's my dad's side of the family. I believe I'm correct on that. So TV's always on though. Lions game's always on. Cowboys game's always on after that. Doesn't get turned off.
I might be most extreme. I feel like I'm like the minute I get to where I'm going at like noon, I'm already picking food, and then like I'm eating a full meal like at 12:30, like sitting down like eating at 12:30. So I know Thanksgiving prep takes a lot of work. So shout out to all the people that are prepping that food that early. Unbelievable.
I would just like to say I'm very thankful that my grandma does prepare all this. Let's just not let that not lose sight of that.
And it's good to know, like, you know, what you enjoy. So when you're running your own Thanksgiving, you might have different setup.
Will be a lot different.
It will be barbecue buffet.
I probably, well, yeah, I don't know if I can go that far. But
what?
I mean, I'm just thinking I'm probably not going to be cooking Thanksgiving dinner all by myself. I can't ever imagine that I'm just like the full-on chef the whole day, because that means I would miss football.
God forbid.
God forbid, right?
Just have multiple TVs in the house. Boom, TV in the kitchen.
Life goals.
Last thing, though, every time we do the little stupid thank you circle thing.
Yeah, what do you say?
Family, every time.
Do you go first? So
yep,
you got
every
go
single
first.
time. I go first. What are you thankful for? Family. And it's like,
Alex, this year, I want you to say, just look down and just be like, I am so thankful. Pause for a second, and then all I want you to say is just Mel Tucker. That's all I
was about to say that, dude.
Say I'm thankful.
And then, like, who's next? Keep chopping.
Mel Tucker. Let's chop, baby.
Chop like.
Then move on.
Oh, Alex, you ruined the sacred holiday.
Yeah, it's something. But I won't be there this year. It'll be a little different.
All right. Well, here's the show. Social accounts, shout out MS everywhere. Follow on for clips, cut-ups of the show, graphics, predictions, all that good stuff. Where to listen, Apple, Spotify, YouTube, rate and review on all those. Submit any questions. Great job on questions this week, everyone. They really help get the show flowing, and we get to interact and basically answer what you guys want to hear. So it's better for everyone. With all that being said, cheers to close out episode 47 and to Michigan shocking the college football world.
Cheers to Michigan State basketball going to dominate the Bahamas this week.
Cheers to my basketball team only having one loss, and to Thanksgiving.
Chop.